All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another live stream. Sorry about the wait. You guys have been waiting patiently. We're back with the reaction streams. Yes, guys, it's been quite a while since we've done a reaction live stream on the channel. So I'm looking forward to it, guys. Obviously, with work and whatnot, it's been quite a process getting these scheduled again. But now that I got some more free time on my hands, I figure why not bring them back? I really enjoy them. I know a lot of you guys really enjoy them. I love the interaction it brings on the channel as well. You know what I mean? I get to converse with you guys, share each other's thoughts, and I get to pick up on stuff that I otherwise wouldn't have picked up on. So it is awesome to see you guys here. I do appreciate that a ton. So yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. As always, I see Jackass Whiskey here. Awesome to see you here. Ibar, obviously Colton, Andrew, great to see you guys here. Thank you guys for tuning in. As always, can't tell you what that means to me. Give me a shout out, Umair. Okay, I believe I pronounced that right. Hopefully I did. But either way, guys, awesome. Thank you guys for tuning in. We're going to start right off here. Obviously, first things first, we got to leave a like for the Amber King here. Amber King produces some of the best 40k lore out there, you know what I mean? Long format 40k lore. All of his videos usually above an hour, but shit, man, we reacted to the Gilliman stream. That was an 8-hour long live stream, 7-hour long live stream, something like that. 4-hour long video, you know what I mean? I can't give enough credit to the Amber King, just the work that gets put into these videos, the research and whatnot. I know Lucius, obviously he's an Emperor's Children, I believe, right? So, you know, Snake Boy Fulgrim, you know, gotta love him. Oh, thank you, Jackass. I appreciate that. Jackass Whiskey, $10 there. I appreciate that. Here's a sawbuck. I appreciate that. Thanks, man. Thank you. Appreciate that a lot. But no, yeah, so we're gonna be getting right into it. Yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. Obviously liked up here. Fulgrim is a bit of a scumbag. The Emperor's Children are a bit of scumbags. So Andrew here was saying, who's the bigger douche, basically? Is it Lucius or is it Erebus? And, you know, I think it's going to be hard to top Erebus. You know, we've seen a lot from Erebus, exactly what he's done. He's done a lot of backstabbing and whatnot of some very beloved characters. So we're going to see if Lucius can top that. I don't know. You know what I mean? Shout me out. Ibrar, I believe that's how you pronounce your name. Shout you out, man. There you go. Here you go. Make you happy. How about that? All right, guys, without any further delay, let's get into it. We're going to full screen it. Captions on, quality 1080p. 3 2 1. Let's get it, guys.
None will stand before my perfection.
Oh, great. It starts immediately.
Is eternal. Agony, ecstasy, more. Sensation will be mine.
Oh no. Voiced by Chris Glass. Have we heard of him? Hold on, have we heard of Chris Glass before in any other any other works? I'm not sure. That doesn't sound familiar to me, but maybe we have. Let me know. Also, do I have paper? Hold up. I need paper. Oh, what am I doing? Novice hour here. Gotta get my notes in front of me. What am I doing? Pain is merely pleasure turned up to the extreme. Oh god. I guess to some people, yeah. What is the vertical perspective about? Basically, it's for those of you guys on mobile, essentially. It's basically another way for the stream to gain viewership in a way, right? So when you're scrolling through on your phone, the vertical format will actually pop up on YouTube Shorts and whatnot, right? So essentially, basically, I'm just trying to get some extra format for us, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, on mobile, see, we already got a few people tuning in on mobile, and I know a lot of people obviously only view on their phones, and for some reason, you know, the way live streams are promoted, it's a lot different than those of videos, right? So for some reason, and I saw it even like the other day when we did the Mass Effect stream in vertical. The Mass Effect stream in vertical got like 200 views, for example, during that time period we were live, versus like the horizontal one only got 70. Like the way they promote it is fucking weird, and I don't claim to understand how, but that's just what it is. It's very strange. But anyway, not to get sidetracked on that. Chemos here. I'm assuming that might be his planet. Let's see.
Perfection is a process.
Of course.
It is the fruit of the highest branch. That is why we are here, my sons.
Ooh.
This world is the beginning of our climb.
Chemos.
The fruit
Chemos.
sits above us, just out of reach. We will climb until we have it in our grasp. But climb we must, lest our imperfections damn us to mere adequacy.
A scarred, haunted visage reflects the twisted, sadistic heart within.
Oh,
LUCIUS, the soul thief.
Colton Davis to Triarii.
Pilgrims.
Holy shit, hold on. We got to pause real quick. Thank you, Colton. I appreciate that. Welcome to Triarii rank, man. Really, really appreciate that. That's fucking big. Thanks, man. I appreciate that a lot. Big thank you.
Heart within LUCIUS.
Sorry to pause, guys.
The soul
Credit where it's due.
Fulgrim's champion, the scion of Chemos and champion of Slaanesh. A name spoken with equal parts dread and pleasure. A monster who even death cannot hold over. A man who embodied the darkness.
Hold on a sec. We gotta pause again now. Hold on. Sorry about that, guys. Real quick. We'll go back 10, 15 seconds. I wanna make sure I listen to the whole thing. Jackass. I bid $750 on a Disney Snow White drawing from 1935 an hour ago. Didn't really want it, and my bid went to fair warning. Then someone else bid $800. I think it sold for $1,300. Jesus, man, $1,300. Why'd you bid on it? Just to fuck around, you know? Distraction money, go. Listen, Hobbit, you don't know. You don't know what you're talking about. No, I appreciate the tenor there, though, Jackass. But yeah, no, Jesus, that's quite a bit. I know I bid on a silent auction. I got this fucking sick ass painting. I got to hang it up here somewhere. You know, so during the reaction videos, you know, you'll be able to see it in its full glory. I got to maybe change my space around quite a bit. I got this big ass fucking metal poster that I got to hang up, and I spent $100 on it during a silent auction. I was like, fuck, you know what I mean? But like, I was the only other person that bid on it. I could probably resell that shit for like $500. I'm not going to, because it's sick. It's like an original C1 Corvette with the background, like basically America in the background, divided by states and whatnot. It looks fucking sick. I got to hang it up. But yeah, no. Either way, let's keep going.
Chemos and champion of Slaanesh. A name spoken with equal parts dread and pleasure. A monster who even death cannot hold over.
Don't make me give memberships in 30 seconds of dinging.
Lay in the heart
Oh,
of
God.
the Third Legion.
Oh, no.
A darkness counted by the other side of that coin. Saul Tarvitz, a tragic legend.
Saul.
Whose legacy is the last vestiges of nobility his legion gave to the galaxy. But who are Lucius and Saul? How did men who are as close as brothers embody the sensations of betrayal and tragedy the Horus Heresy unleashed? A story that leaves one heinous, disgusting monster in its wake. An eternal nightmare for mankind.
Well, what else is new,
Their
am I
story
right?
begins at the end of the 30th millennium. Deep in the Aquitine sector of the galaxy, two children were born to a world dominated by near-perpetual twilight. Chemos.
So we're in
The
the
world that
Horus
Lucius and
Heresy
Saul
here.
were born to was almost unrecognizable to eyes that had seen it decades before. It was a story told to these young boys, and to almost every child born on this grey world. Decades ago, like an angel descending from the very heavens, a mysterious child crashed into the surface of Chemos. Beautiful, purple eyes
no.
looked around, only to find a picture of misery. Chemos, for millennia, had been
This
a
is
mining
Fulgrim.
colony, populated during humanity's golden era over 5,000 years ago. But with utopia in humanity's grasp, it was ripped away. Oh, night. The age of strife had arrived, and with the collapse of the spanning federation of mankind, millions of worlds like Chemos were cut off, unable to travel, communicate, or trade because of war and ravaging warp storms. The once prosperous world of Chemos began to regress, each generation suffering as resources, knowledge, and power bled out. After millennia, the ruins of a great age was all that remained.
Yeah, that place would be a skeleton city. Like that, I can't imagine how many worlds, like in the span of 40K, so many worlds were obviously like reconquered or already had human inhabitants that were, for lack of a better word, still alive and could be subjugated, right? But like also you got to think about how many worlds just like utterly got fucking devastated. Like, oh, suddenly, like you got to think like orbital habitats, shit like that, right? Or planets without oxygen. Suddenly, like your oxygen manufacturing breaks down. You can't import oxygen. You don't know how to fucking fix it. Now suddenly your planet's gonna die because you all live in habs, kind of thing. Like, how many fucking planets, like, just utterly, or, you know, maybe your planet is livable, but suddenly now your society just fucking regresses into nothing because after a generation or two, people just forget shit. People forget how to make shit. The second you don't have anything on computer and nobody knows how to read books anymore, you're fucked. Like, that's it, you know? Like, it's interesting to picture. I love this, like, the scale of 40K so much, you know? Never done an auction in my life. Bidding just to bid. That's fair. Really into Disney stuff. Tomorrow there's an auction on European coins and pulp magazines. Oh, shit. Damn, dude. Probably the closest humanity came to destruction. Yeah. No, I agree.
Millennia, the ruins of a great age.
Fulgrim was found as a baby.
Remained. The technology, the supplies, and the people were lesser. Great fortress factories housed the last bastions of humanity, and under their weak sun and grey skies, all of Chemos struggled on a daily basis to feed its people. Everyone had to work, day and night, in the damp, cold, pollutant-clogged mines, just to keep the vapor mines and food synthesizers running.
Literally, yeah,
Hard,
exactly.
Brutal existence had forged the surviving people of Chemos. Hard places often breed hardened people, and on a world where missing a
ACAB?
single disgusting grey nutrient slot.
Wait a second. Is that all cops are bad scribbled on the side there? Or does that mean something else in 40K? Because that's funny. What the fuck? Oh shit, thanks Jackass again. Oh my god, wow. I think the reason God wants me to hang around is to be generous to people, and maybe my super chats will help you out. I appreciate that a lot regardless, man. I mean, you know, I feel bad asking for donations, so of course I'm never going to ask for anything like that, right? But again, if I really do appreciate it straight up. Like, it does mean a lot to me, you know. Currently YouTube is one of my only sources of income, so it's you know, it does mean a lot to me that you're willing to do that for me, man. I appreciate that a lot.
Meal was life or death.
Fresh servitors, oh no.
Greed, selfishness, and ruthlessness was necessary to survive. Dueling and scheming were rife within this heavy oligarchic society.
Hold on, real quick. So Hobbit, what is happening with the chat? I've seen Andrew and group on screen, but don't actually see their chats. So basically, Hobbit, I think you're in the vertical chat right now. So is Jackass. So if you go to my channel, and then there'll be actually 2 streams live. One will have a bracket portrait. Maybe I'll just throw that in front of the title just so it's easier to recognize next time. Tip for next time, I guess. But like, yeah, basically there's 2 streams, and for some reason on YouTube, they count as separate streams, even though it's the same stream. I'm streaming from the same fucking platform, on the same platform. So it doesn't really make any sense to me, but that's how we're rocking, I guess, you know?
Dueling and scheming were rife within this heavy oligarchic society. Each person was.
So if you go over to that stream, you'll see their chats as well, and then yours will appear in stream as well.
Millions of people dotted
yeah, it is
around
weird.
the
I don't.
fortress
I don't know.
for generations knew nothing else. To reach even beyond the age of 30 was considered special in this uncaring place.
This place sounds actually ass.
Having experienced only grueling, back-breaking, finger-blistering work. They never relaxed, never had pursuits or hobbies. Most had never even heard music. But just as this slow decay would seem to doom them forever, they were saved. The child that had descended from the skies had been taken in. He had an aura about him, a supreme welling of majesty. He was humanity distilled. He was perfect. Hope
perfect until he
bled
wasn't.
from those luscious purple eyes. The boy grew into a man inside the fortress factory of Kallax. Over decades he transformed them. This superhuman began to fix and even improve the food synthesizers. For the first time in millennia,
we don't have to eat
Kallax
paste?
produced a surplus of food. And for the first time in living memory, the people had time. The most
So I think it was still paste. It was just more paste that you got to eat, unfortunately. But hey, he got them more paste. You can have double rations of paste instead of just one serving. There you go.
In living memory, the people had time, the most precious.
As long as it's not corpse starch,
commodity. They had freedom and choice. Within a lifetime, one being ruled over Chemos, uniting the previous warring factions and fortress factories. Fulgrim was his name. We have all been a victim of nihilism, the dark cloud that smothers everything, tainting the world into a dark and unforgiving place. But what would you feel
Fulgrim will make it all better.
Who dragged you out from it?
Yeah.
The one who raised you into the light, wiping the mud and grime from your face. Chemos experienced a renaissance. The culture, arts, and pleasures denied to them for millennia flourished. And the superhuman Fulgrim, the enormous, silver-haired, amethyst-eyed, godlike figure had done it for them. For the children that were Lucius and Saul, it was a legend, an odyssey of their people from the darkness into the light. A mythological story come to life, filling them with the innocent wonder only children experience. And just as their savior was perfect to them, the ideal, that very sensation arrived at Fulgrim's doorstep. Arriving above the clouds of Chemos, the Great Crusade had arrived.
I feel like I can already understand the Emperor's Children a lot better. So basically their pendulum swung, like their pendulum was all the fucking way to the left, right? They were starved, depraved, had no fucking food. They were done for, right? There was nothing going on their planet. It was awful. No music, no culture, no nothing, right? Life sucks. And then basically Fulgrim came. He made everything better, got them more food, and then in their pursuit of perfection, their pendulum basically swung all the fucking way over. And now they're just like, now they're just freaks. You know what I mean? Like, but like, they're the opposite of freaks until they become ultra freaks. They become too freaky. You know what I'm saying?
The Empire from Terra descended.
Initially, they made sense. Like
it, perfection.
I can't judge
father, the Emperor
in that way
of mankind.
I can see how access to them would be totally like, holy shit, yes.
Perfection is not a state of being. It is a state of striving. The journey is all that has meaning, not the goal. The Imperium
Nihilism is very
mankind,
destructive, it is.
A growing empire with its seat upon terror. And the head that stands upon the shoulders of billions is one man.
Shit, I appreciate that again, jackass. My dog likes classical music. Does he? Yeah, you know, I hear plants also like classical music. Like, no bullshit. I hear if you actually play like classical music to like plants and shit, it'll actually promote growth to them. I don't know if that's true. I don't know if that's real. I think it's like something in like the vibration of the music or something like that promotes plant growth. I don't know. Maybe I should try it, you know? Unironically, you know, my cats don't like music. My cats hear loud shit, they leave, you know? That's why they're like usually in my room, because I got headphones on. Usually the loudest thing in my room is me talking, and that's not like super, super loud, you know?
That stands upon the shoulders of billions is one man, the Emperor of mankind.
Need to check out Fulgrim next? I might do that, Andrew.
He was perfect. His knowledge was infinite. His prowess was unmatched, and his power was unwavering. His vision for humanity was a mark of greatness. There he stood, in beautiful, ornate, golden armor, the peak of humanity. The Emperor of mankind had come to Fulgrim, his son, his Primarch, bringing a grand destiny, the Great Crusade, the reunification of mankind across the stars. He brought enlightenment, the imperial truth, and he had brought Fulgrim his sons, the Legiones Astartes,
My dog likes Nightcore.
with his own
Holy
genetic
shit.
material, men elevated into superhumans. As the great savior left to Terra, Chemos began to transform further. A bountiful growth festered by new imperial resources and Fulgrim's personal direction.
This place doesn't have to be garbage anymore.
In the stars, the young Lucius and Saul grew up upon a grey but flourishing world. The scars of the past only remembered by the old, but the mindset was not forgotten. Where once duels and conflicts echoed in the smog-filled mines, they were now center stage in grand amphitheaters. Pleasure, culture, and creations once denied to the people flooded the streets, bringing color to a world illuminated by perpetual twilight.
Like, and that's the thing, the world is just like blanketed in darkness. That's also just awful. So if you don't have power, you can't see. Now, you might be able to make a fire on this planet, but I don't know, right? Like, based on what a large part of the environment is, I'm assuming a lot of its buildings, you're probably not lighting fires and whatnot. But you know what I'm saying? Like, this place is just awful to live in. So I can totally see, again, how, like, the excess just, like, drove them to insanity, in a sense, you know what I mean? Drove Fulgrim to insanity. The second, like Fulgrim was so easy to corrupt. Like, you just have to tell Fulgrim, like, yes, I'll give it to you. And he's just like, okay. You know what I mean? Like, I could be wrong. But, like, let's keep watching, of course. But I can see how his people could get duped by that, too. Because, like, again, Fulgrim did all this for them. Like, culture is, again, like 80-90%, I think, of a society, right? Of a civilization. If you don't have anything backing you as, like, a people, then what really is holding you together? I guess religion. But I guess religion is also kind of a byproduct of the culture of the place, right? In a sense, right? Or vice versa. Is that? No. I think the first one I said, I think, was correct. But either way, you know, like, it's hard to say. It's hard to say. This place just seems like one of the worst planets to grow up on. Now, again, if you grew up during Fulgrim's development phase, I can see how you'd be with him 100% of the time. Until maybe he starts, like, going really off the deep end. And then you're like, maybe not. Maybe this was a bad choice. But then you're already too far in, you know? Or you're dead. She sleeps by the radio that I have on 24/7, tuned into classical radio stations. Oh, that's cool. Oh, shit, maybe it's calming to her, you know? I know a lot of dogs. How old is the dog, if I might ask?
The planet of Chemos had been united, not conquered.
Hey, Vox in the Void reactions coming. I do actually, again, sorry, not to pause again. I do want to get back into playing Vox in the Void. I need to, like, make a concrete stream schedule and stick to it, like, for gaming, you know what I mean? It's just the problem is like, we were big on the Mass Effect, and Mass Effect is a big game series, right? So I didn't want to mess around with it. It was kind of the case of, I wanted to do Mass Effect, I wanted to keep it fresh, I wanted to, you know, get through it, you know what I mean? So I, like, could remember, like, the lore and, like, what was going on and everything. I didn't want to, like, take a big pause from it. And also it was the case of, like, I felt behind on that too, because, like, I planned on beating that shit back in, like, August, dude, and now it's, like, obviously November, so, you know, I need it. Refreshing YouTube for that Eversource story. I need it. Yeah, I understand. But no, Vox in the Void will be coming. We're going to be doing some more of that on the channel. I do want to do more, and I hear it got a big update too. I'm looking forward to that. I want to see what they added for sure.
A feat only capable with a Primarch level skill in diplomacy. The consequences of this bloodless path left an aristocracy, families elevated from the rulership of fortress factories into the governors of cities, all in the service to their imperium. It is perhaps during this time of change when the boy that would become the man, Saul Tarvitz, was taken, only enjoying the beginning of the fruit bearing upon his homeworld, but elevated toward a different.
Oh, Vox in the Void. I thought you said Voices in the Void. I read that quickly. My bad. Voice in the Void is coming. Vox in the Void. Vox in the Void is a YouTuber, right? I do want to check out some more of his channel too. It's been way too long. Warrior tier, obviously Vox in the Void, even Major Kill. I did enjoy some of Major Kill's videos. I know there's some mixed opinions on him. I enjoyed some of his stuff. Don't get me wrong. You know, I do want to check out some more 40K on the channel too. It's going to be coming back, guys. I know. It's just, you guys got to leave likes on the 40K stuff. You know what I'm saying? Not enough people tuning into the 40K stuff. Not enough people leaving likes on it. You know, got to tune in, leave a like on it, guys. Come on. You know, that's what I'm saying. I got to know you guys enjoy it. You know, that's what it is.
But elevated toward a different, grand destiny in the stars.
Don't enjoy Major
Fate
Kill.
that
I know a
would
lot of
soon
people,
come
yeah.
knocking for
Some
the
of his
boy
stuff was
known
meh.
as Lucius.
Some of his stuff was
Perhaps born
okay.
into a life not of wealth or poverty.
Like, I didn't
Lucius would
hate his
find
content.
himself joining the upper ranks of Chemosian society, like all those who had the fortune of being born after the arrival of the great savior Fulgrim, and the Primarch's reunion with the Emperor. One singular word left the demigod's lips.
Major Kill is hit
A
or miss,
word
exactly.
That would change
That
Chemos
basically,
forever.
yeah.
Perfection. Perfection is a process. It is the fruit of the highest branch. It sits above us, just out of reach. You must climb until you have it in your grasp, lest our imperfections damn you to mere adequacy. Ambition had been a bubbling fire for millennia, but in this new society it roared. Both Lucius and Saul were taught to climb, chase the fruit. But the young Lucius left his contemporaries in the dust. He climbed high.
Chase the
His
fruit,
talents,
Lucius.
His skills.
Do it.
His athleticism was beyond his peers. The handsome young man was a beacon that drew greedy moths to his flame.
Oh god.
Aristocratic sponsors came rolling in. He...
Why does it sound like Lucius is getting, like, groomed here? What the fuck? Oh, yes, he's so athletic and he's a perfect boy, yes. Like, what? What are we talking about here? Oh god. No, but, like, yeah, he's already getting sponsorships and shit. I'm assuming he's at a young age. Like, this guy's kind of made to be in Astartes, you know what I mean? Like, this is the guy you want already. Kind of seems like it. What was the game you were talking about? Oh, so yeah, well, Voices in the Void. Well, it's currently a free game. You can download it for free, or you can, give money to the developer, which, I say, and if this is an option, I say try the game. The game is very good, and if you can spare a couple bucks, throw a couple bucks the developer's way. You can download it for free. It's kind of like a job sim horror game in a way. It's a weird game, kind of nichey, but it scratches an itch. I will say it scratches a very fucking fine itch, and it's a very, very fun game, very detailed for what it is. I will say, even though it's voxel based, you can do so much shit in it, and it's kind of insane. Like at base, it's like, oh, okay, what's going on here? It doesn't seem like there's a lot going on. But then you start playing the game more and you're like, what? You can do actually genuinely so much in this for no reason at all. It's kind of one of those slept on games. So I recommend go checking it out if you got some time. And again, as I say, on PC, it is free. So go try it out. And if you enjoy it, go throw a couple bucks to the developer's way. It definitely deserves it. That's for sure.
Aristocratic sponsors came rolling in. He
Lucy Groom, no comment.
A
Oh
rising
god.
star whose
Oh, God.
coattails could be ridden. Your home.
That's not
your
good.
family and your friends. The company you keep often reflects who you are. And to the young, impressionable Lucius, he was surrounded by greedy, ruthless, selfish people, descendants of a ruling caste that had oppressed millions for millennia. As he grew, he found himself drawn to one art form, a path to a fruit that could make him perfect. The sword. His talent was supernatural, and again he quickly began to master this new pursuit. But there was something cruel within this naive boy. Each victory, each step taken in the climb towards the fruit, he looked back in disgust, because those who he surpassed were beneath him. Scars and wounds.
He's one of
were
those.
the lucky consequences for the power-drunk Lucius. The worst was death. Some rumors...
So off rip, this guy was also just power drunk. Holy shit. Okay. Wow. So he's one of those guys that gets a promotion at work and then instantly he's just taking his lunch break 10 minutes before you, telling you what to do. I think I know better. Do it this way. He's one of those guys. But he's also just spitting on the ground that you walk on as you're walking towards him. He's not even subtle about it. What a fucking guy.
Yes. The worst was death. Some rumors even stated that he had murdered some of the dregs of
Oh
society.
god, so he's even worse than
claiming
that.
He had been attacked first.
Oh my.
When he took part in the annual swordsmanship contest on Chemos.
Now he's going out and
Lucius
beating
garnered
homeless
the
people. Like,
attention
what's
of
going
a
on here?
hulking stranger in the shadows. He dueled against a famed champion twice his age, slowly breaking him down, enjoying his superiority on display, humiliating his enemy. As he was about to be attacked by the champion's supporters and disciples.
He's a
the
real
hulking
paragon,
figure
yeah, truly.
intervened. Lucius's skills had made him worthy for elevation. All that the boys Saul and Lucius had been through, their memories and dreams, would be distilled in the process they were about to endure. On a cold steel table, Lucius and Saul were cut open. Organs created from the savior Fulgrim's DNA was grafted onto them. They endured a pain that flooded through every nerve and fibre of their being. For years they were prodded and sliced, until after years, what emerged was Lucius and Saul, Legiones Astartes. They were Emperor's children, the Third Legion.
The Primarch, oh great. Here we go. I before we go into that, I feel like he unironically, like, during his, like, during his ascension, right? I'm sure he, like, got an extra, like, couple years of plastic surgery, like, thrown onto him just for the shits, you know? I feel like Lucius would be the type of guy to do that, you know? Like, straight up. Like, it wasn't good enough to just be in
Pike
Astartes.
sat up, alert now.
You're certain?
Fulgrim nodded.
I've seen it before. Secret societies were rife on Chemos in my youth. Periods of unrest often see the formation of ad hoc brotherhoods, looking
I
for
see
some
you,
sense
Khold,
of
I see
control
you.
amidst the confusion, or to take advantage of it.
And it's not Bucephalus.
She had thought as much earlier, before Corinth had convinced Fulgrim otherwise. Bucephalos wasn't the type to overthrow a government. Not with force of arms, at any rate.
No.
Fulgrim said. He stared at the map, as if trying to isolate the situation from its component parts. Pike wondered at the expression on his face, simultaneously frustrated and excited. He was enjoying it, like a child who learned a new game. A shiver ran through her, a child's enthusiasm, slaves to a cogitator-like mind, ruthless, efficient, perfect in its clarity of purpose. Fulgrim attacked the problem from every angle, until a weak point revealed itself. Then his attentions focused with deadly precision, like a duelist exploiting a flaw in his opponent's guard.
Representatives of the patricians have visited me over the past few days, looking for some advantage.
Pike said. She poured herself a glass of wine, and then one for Fulgrim.
Mostly trying to secure themselves an advantageous position in the new order. They appear to think that Pandion is living on borrowed time.
I just imagine, like, Fulgrim sniffs the wine and it's just like, this is peasant shit, and just fucking dumps it, like, right in front of her. Like, do you expect me to drink this vintage? Like, no.
Order. They appear to think that Pandion is living on borrowed time.
He might well be.
Fulgrim admitted.
Some of them even threatened me.
She smiled at the look on his face.
Obliquely, of course. Nothing so forward as a sniper's bullet. They're used to getting their way in these matters. They have little understanding of the wider implications of our presence.
She's very to the
Or
point.
they might simply be that arrogant.
Or both.
She nodded in agreement.
They'll need to be dealt with. Harshly is my preference.
He looked at her, eyebrow raised. She shrugged.
They insulted me. I can have my people kill them if you'd prefer.
Fulgrim laughed.
It may come to that, though I'd like to leave some of them alive. A functioning aristocracy is necessary, at least at the outset.
A careful dance, then.
She said.
I am a fine dancer, acclaimed for my grace and agility.
Oh my.
Crooned slightly, and she couldn't help but laugh.
I never had the knack for it myself. Perhaps you can teach me.
Oh
I
my.
would be delighted.
Oh
Fulgrim
my.
glanced at the map again.
I'll send Kasparos and Greithen to inspect the Agra Circle, I think. The landowners there require a gentler touch than those in the mountains.
I had another request.
Pike said. Fulgrim glanced at her. Pike
He has
paused,
reach, she doesn't
considering
have
her
flexibility.
next words
Oh, no.
carefully.
I ask that you consider being more careful in the future.
Careful?
No more running after snipers. No more
What?
baiting assassins.
What?
I will not hide, Lady Golconda.
I am not asking you to. But twice now, you've acted on instinct, pursuing your attackers rather than waiting for support. You're aggressive and impulsive when provoked. That isn't valuable intelligence for a certain sort of person.
Fulgrim's expression didn't change, but Pike could feel the sudden tension radiating from him. She forced herself to remain calm. She had endured the anger of one of the Emperor's sons before.
He's just
and she
death
could do
staring her
so
now.
again.
And what sort of person is that?
The words came out like a warning rumble of some great cat.
Oh, God.
Somewhere between a purr of invitation and a growl of reproach.
Have our enemies revealed themselves to you, primary iterator?
He sat back, fingers interlaced.
Are their schemes suddenly laid bare before your keen insight?
His tone was mild, but
Might
the
have some
words were
traitorous
cutting,
thoughts there.
almost petulant. She took a steadying breath, knowing that to say the wrong thing now was to lose him entirely.
That is not what I meant, and you know it, Lord Fulgrim.
She said, her voice even.
This latest attempt may very well have been a feint, to better gauge your capabilities.
Or it may have merely been the act of desperate men. The explosion wasn't necessarily meant for me. It would have covered their escape and eradicated any evidence they might have left behind.
He sighed and leaned back.
But
He hesitated. For a moment, his two handsome features cracked, and Pike glimpsed what lay beneath. Then he was smiling again, his mask artfully rearranged. He continued.
You may very well be right, my lady. Forgive me.
She nodded slowly. The Primarchs were not human, she reminded herself. They were both more and less than that. But like humans, they had their foibles. Fulgrim
Not
was
human.
arrogant, but it was an assumed arrogance. It was a mask he wore,
You can't
a
think
part
that.
he played. Soon enough, it might become the real thing. For now, it was simply another piece of armor, a way to protect himself from a galaxy all too quick to take advantage of his flaws. She knew his story. She knew all of their stories. A boyhood spent in hardship, forced to endure terrible privation, and dangers that would have broken the sanity of a normal man.
So I think he got so offended there strictly for the reason of like, oh shit, thank you again, jackass. 2 seconds. Here's a factoid. Modern surgery roots can be traced back to barbers in France in the 1700s. They were called barber surgeons. It's very crazy. Oh my god, really? Surgery roots can be traced back to barbers in France. Yeah, didn't barbers, like, historically, didn't they also do, like, yeah, weren't they also, like Medicaids in a sense, right? Like, they were straight up, like, the people who knew best at medicine also cut your hair or something like that. It was kind of nuts. But either way, as I was saying, I believe Fulgrim got so offended by that simply because, like, again, he's in the pursuit of perfection. He wants to be the best at everything. He thinks he's the best at everything. So for her to sit here and basically just point out, like, yeah, by the way, like, you're super susceptible to, like, this, your anger. Like, you're gonna fucking chase down whoever's coming after you. You know, the wrong person could definitely use that against you. And it's literally like, you know, it's basically like her shitting in his cereal, like in the first thing in the morning. You know, it pisses you right off, you know? Like, now, she didn't mean it in an offensive way. It's just literally the case of he's Fulgrim, and I'm doing shit the best way. I'm perfect. How are you judging me? You know, it's hard for him to conceptualize that, I think, largely. Now, I know a lot of you guys were saying, like, Fulgrim was humble early on. See, I think he's humbler, But I think, again, he still has those flaws that are very, very noticeable, and it like shows, you know? Like, he still is very arrogant. He's humble, but he's don't personally talk about his skill, or he's going to have a problem. You know what I mean?
Privation and dangers that would have broken the sanity of a normal man. A slow, determined climb to conquest.
Fulcrum just wants
that left
Daddy to
little
love him.
time
Oh.
for friendship, or for learning those lessons that made one a part of society. She smiled.
My late husband, one of them, I forgot which,
Oh my.
had a saying, forgiveness is unnecessary between friends,
Fulgrim chuckled.
And are we friends then?
if you like.
She took a chance and patted his knee. Fulgrim laid his hands over hers.
Oh my. So is
Fulgrim,
getting it
the
on?
Phoenician, the savior of Chemos. To stand before him, exhilaration, wonder, and joy would flood
God,
your
she's been around
veins.
more times than the common
His
cold. Oh god.
perfect features, his silver
Oh my.
hair, and ornate, beautiful armor. It was as if a demigod of mythology was before your very eyes. For Lucius and Saul Tarvitz, the sight of their Primarch, their gene father, awakened something deep within them. Even from his youth to his earliest days within the Legion, Saul was described by his brothers as a humble man.
Bit like the
And
slag
sight
in
of
ME.
his Primarch must have taken that humility to the
Yeah, he's talking about specialist trainer. Specialist trainer is not really a slag, okay, Andrew? Like, yeah, she's got her moments, but, you know, a lot of stress, you know, end of the galaxy type shit. Yeah, you know, she's okay, you know what I mean? Hey, you know, let's not be too hasty, you know?
and the sight of his Primarch must have taken that humility to the extreme. Who was he, Saul, before this magnificent being? For Lucius, that cruel arrogance, fostered by his upbringing, must have been shattered. He had shown complete disregard for those who he saw as below him. But in front of him stood a being so far ahead of him, it must have
Slag
been
and ME, dude,
world
that's crazy.
Upon
That's
Chemos,
crazy work.
Lucius had been special, a cut above the rest. But with his fellow Astartes at his side, such as Saul, he was no longer unique. They were all skilled, all worthy of being sons of Fulgrim, even if men like Saul thought that they were not worthy. After months of grueling surgeries, relentless combat and educational training, Lucius and Saul were ready to join the Legion as fully fledged members. In the time that Lucius and Saul joined, the Legion was in a state of renewal. Decades ago, with the scattering of the Primarchs, the 20 legions had headed to the stars, leaderless. It was at this time that tragedy struck. The Third Legion had earned glory and renown in the early days of the Great Crusade, but a terrible sickness arose, the viral blight. A flaw within the gene seed became rampant. Brave and noble warriors dropped like flies, and at the edge of dissolvement, with 200 Astartes left,
Jesus.
hope arrived. Fulgrim. With the union of Primarch and Legion, new gene seed was harvested.
Didn't really know that.
Fulgrim spoke to his remaining sons with a speech that dripped with hope and charisma. A legendary battle cry declaring, "You are the Emperor's chosen, his heralds, his warriors, his children. This is only the beginning." Over the coming decades, recruits began to flood in. Men such as Lucius and Saul, a second generation devoid of the scars the Legion had endured. Knowing
So it is kind of crazy. I did not know that a gene seed failure led to only 200 Emperor's children remaining at one point. That is quite insane to me. Like that's a fucking that's you know, that's a lot of dead Astartes, and like that's a lot to come back from. And I guess obviously Fulgrim can make it happen the second they have their leader back, but like, you know, it also means that like all the original Astartes, like Terra-born Astartes, are basically dead. So I can kind of see how his legion was very quick to succumb. You know what I mean, in a way? Because it's like nobody there, well, very few people there are actually Terraborn Marines still. Like, goddamn.
Second generation devoid of the scars the Legion had endured, knowing only the absolute
The ancient one remains, that's true. That's
of their
true.
father.
There are
that
some
had
pretty
brought
cracked
the
ones that
Third
stayed
Legion
alive,
to
but
an equal place at the table.
the vast
A
majority
legion to
dead is
match
crazy.
all the others, and then perhaps even eclipse them. The Imperial Aquila, the Emperor's personal heraldry, a badge of honor earned in the early days, was for the Third alone to bear. Lucius, Saul, and all their brothers would have to live and fight every day to show their worthiness of this honor. As the Legion was rebuilt, it became a reflection of the man that led them, Fulgrim. Perfection is not a state of being, it is a state of striving. The journey is all that has meaning, not the goal. Lucius and Saul were climbing the mountain towards perfection, a journey that had two different perspectives. To Lucius, he reflected the immaculate, talented, the ambition, the example, the very image others saw as Fulgrim's arrogance. But the other side was Saul, the humanity beneath the mask. He was stalwart, noble, duty-driven, the perfect soldier who perhaps did not have what it took to climb to the very top. As the two men joined the Great Crusade, fighting horrifying Xenos and
So far, Saul seems like the more agreeable one, the more, like, relatable one, you know? I feel like Lucius here, he's definitely just a power tripper. I feel like Saul is equal to him to a point, is what I feel like is going to go on here. Who knows? No spoilers, of course. But Saul definitely seems like he's
As the two men joined
chill.
the
He's a
Great
lot chiller.
Crusade,
Saul is pretty
fighting
goated,
horrifying
yeah.
Xenos.
Like, he definitely seems like he's more...
colonies, the two embodiments of Fulgrim united.
He's the realer one,
For
you know what I'm
nearly a
saying?
century, the Emperor's children fought alongside Fulgrim's brother, Horus, and his lunar wolves.
Saul is a
Their
legend.
numbers slowly swelling from elite attachments to Imperial Guard to near independent Legion force sizes. It was in this consolidation that Lucius and Saul would begin to forge a bond that only soldiers know. For men so polar opposite, their differences harmonized. They were unstoppable together, each a positive influence on
Better
the
call
other.
Saul.
Lucius's
Yeah.
skill drove Saul to work harder, to strive more towards their Primarch's road to
Are you
perfection.
wrongfully
And
accused?
the humility of Saul reigned in Lucius's worst tendencies. To Lucius, Saul was perhaps his only friend.
Shit.
His
Another fiver there. I appreciate that, jackass. Attaining perfection is not possible, nor should it be wanted. Yeah, see, I agree with that because, again, like, in the pursuit of perfection, like, and that's like the perfect example is the Emperor's children here. In the pursuit of perfection, what are you willing to give up to be perfect, right? Because you got to give up something. Sacrifice is always necessary, right? For something such as that, right? Like, whether it be time, whether it be relationships, whether it be, you know, whatever have you, something must be given up to be perfect at something, right? So, you know, even let's say you're the best at your job, right? Well, you're only the best at your job because you're putting in 100-hour, 80-hour work weeks, whatever have you, right? You never see your family, you never have any sort of relationships. Why would it be, you know, why would you want that, you know, necessarily? You should be having a life in a sense. Holy shit, Hobbit just gifted 10 memberships as well. Oh my God, thank you, Hobbit. Holy shit. And Andrew got a membership. Yo, Andrew, you finally got a membership. Yo, look at that. Holy shit. Oh my God. It's been so long. Andrew. Oh my God. Finally, you get that Hastati rank, man. Yes. Okay. Well, all you guys that are obviously in here, come on down, join our Discord. If you're not already a part of it, you'll be able to claim those ranks as long as your YouTube is connected. You got your YouTube connections in your settings. Go to that in your Discord. You'll be able to claim your Hastati rank. I appreciate that, Hobbit. Thank you, man. That means a lot to me. You guys are fucking going in big tonight, I have to say. Holy shit. Appreciate that a lot, guys. Thank you. Oh my God. Wow. Absolute legends.
To Lucius, Saul was
Wow.
perhaps his only friend. His inherent selfishness pushed others away, even his fellow legionaries. His absolute focus on his journey, his grueling levels of training, and effort towards a greater, stronger, more perfect Lucius. Others were not important in that journey, except for his equal, Saul, the brother alongside him. But for Saul, friendship and brotherhood came easily. Discipline, not ambition, drove him, a trait that others flocked to. Even in the Praexior campaign, Nathaniel Garo of the Death Guard forged a bond with Saul, so deep he called an Hastati of another legion brother. The two even had small eagles carved into their gauntlets by knife point.
Oh,
A
wow.
sign of the
That's
battle
cool.
debt they owed one another. And when the two clasped each other's wrists, their vambraces would form the sign of the Imperial Aquila. A
Damn.
bond that would have galaxy-shaping consequences.
That is actually pretty cool. Whenever they fucking like bro embrace, they form the Imperial Aquila. That's fucking cool. I think I just had a stroke saying that. Oh my god.
Enlightenment is not found outside of you. Real
Garo
truth
the goat.
is inside of you, and always has been. To find it, you must cut away everything, lower and deeper, until you reach the bottom. Once there is nothing left, all that remains is the truth. That is what is happening to you. Eternal. You are on the cusp of discovering the real truth.
Repeat what you said about the trees.
Eidolon prompted.
The ring forms use them to secure prey for feeding, Lord.
Tarvit said.
I understand that.
Eidolon snapped.
I've lost men to the winged things, and I've seen the thorn trees. But you say there were other bodies.
The corpses of blood angels, Lord.
Tarvitz nodded.
We've not seen them.
Antaeus remarked.
It might explain what happened to them.
Eidolon replied. Antaeus was one of Eidolon's chosen circle, and enjoyed a far more cordial relationship with his lord than Tarvitz did.
Have you proof?
Antaeus asked Tarvitz.
I destroyed the trees, as you know, sir.
Tarvitz said.
So you don't have proof?
My word is proof.
Said
Oh.
Tarvitz.
And good enough for me.
Antaeus nodded courteously.
I meant no offense, brother.
And I took none, sir.
You used all your charges.
Eidolon asked.
Yes, Lord.
A waste.
Tarvitz began
What?
to reply, but stifled the words
You can't
before he
fucking.
could say.
You really can't please these people. You know what I mean? Oh yeah. You got rid of the target. Yeah, yes I did. Oh, do you have any proof? No, my word is my proof. Okay, fine, good enough. You used all your charges though. You made sure. Yeah, I did. Wasteful. Like what? What? Like these are the kind of people you just want to fucking. You know what I'm saying? Like give them one of those. You know, like.
Waste.
Tarvitz began to reply, but stifled the words before he could say them. If it hadn't been for his use of the explosives, they wouldn't have reunited. If it hadn't been for his use of explosives, the ragged corpses of the fine Emperor's children would have hung from the stone gibbets in ignominious disarray.
I told him so, Lord.
Lucius remarked.
Told him what?
That using all of our charges was a waste.
Oh, and then you have
What's
a
that in your hand, Captain?
typical dick rider
Eidolon
over here
asked.
also.
Lucius
Schmied
held up
rider.
the limb blade.
You taint us.
Antaeus said.
Shame on you, using an enemy's claw like a sword.
Oh
Throw
my
it
god.
away, Captain.
Eidolon said.
I'm surprised at you.
Yes, Lord.
Tarvitz,
Yes, my lord.
the Blood Angels will require some proof of their fallen. Some relic they can honor. You say shreds of armor hung from those trees. Go and retrieve some. Lucius can help you.
My lord.
Eidolon
should we
hate
not
is always
secure
warranted.
this?
I gave you an order, Captain. Execute it, please. Or does the honor of our brethren Legion mean nothing to you?
Oh my
I only
god.
thought two.
Did I ask for your counsel? Are you a Lord
No, sir.
Commander and privy to the higher links of command?
No, Lord.
Then get to
I realized
it,
my hair was doing
Captain.
something crazy there.
You too, Lucius. You men, assist them.
The local shield storm had blown out. The sky over the wide clearing was surprisingly clear and pale, as if night was finally falling. Tarvitz had no idea of Murder's diurnal cycle. Since they had made planetfall, night and day periods must have surely passed. But in the stalk forests, lit by the storm's flare, such changes had been imperceptible. Now it seemed cooler, stiller. The sky was a washed-out beige, with filaments of darkness threaded through it. There was no wind, and the flicker of sheet lightning came from many kilometers away. Tarvitz thought he could even glimpse the stars up there, in the darker patches of the open sky. He led his party out of the ruin of the trees. Lucius was grumbling, as if it was all Tarvitz's fault.
Shut up.
Tarvitz told him on a closed channel.
Consider this ample payback for your kiss-ass display to the Lord Commander.
What are you talking about?
Lucius asked.
Thank you. Thank God he called him out on that kiss-ass display. I hope that's like quote for quote, like straight up. I hope that's like in the book. Somebody tell me if it is. Because, like, damn, that's exactly, like, yeah, sums it up. Like, you absolutely, like, you know, suckled there, like, plain and simple. I don't know how else to say that.
To the Lord Commander.
What are you talking about?
Lucius asked.
I told him it was a waste, Lord.
Tarvitz answered, mimicking Lucius's words with an unflattering voice.
I did tell you.
Yes, you did. But there's such a thing as solidarity. I thought we were friends.
Idiot.
We are friends,
Lucius said, hurt.
And that was the act of a friend.
We are the Emperor's children,
Lucius said solemnly.
We seek perfection. We don't hide our mistakes. You made a mistake. Acknowledging our failures is another step on the road to perfection. Isn't that what our Primarch teaches?
Tarvitz frowned. Lucius was right. Primarch Fulgrim had taught that only by imperfection could they fail the Emperor, and only by recognizing those failures could they eradicate them.
But it wasn't necessarily a failure.
Remind Eidolon of that key tenet of their Legion's philosophy.
I made a mistake. I used that blade thing. I relished it. It was Xenos. Lord Eidolon was right to reprimand me.
I told you it was Xenos.
What a kiss-ass.
Yes, you did. I owe you an apology for that. You are right, Saul. I'm sorry.
Never mind.
Lucius put his hand on Tarvitz's plate arm and stopped him.
No, it's not. I'm a fine one to talk. You are always so grounded, Saul. I know I mock you for that. I'm sorry. I hope we're still friends.
Of course.
Your steadfast manner is a true virtue. I become obsessive sometimes in the heat of things. It's an imperfection of my character. Perhaps you can help me overcome it.
So I hate how he like apologizes, right? But like he can't, like, you know what I mean? Like he'll apologize to you in private, but he's gonna be the first one to fucking throw you under the bus every single time. I fucking hate people like that. You know what I mean? Because it's totally like a thing certain people do. You know what I mean? Like the second things go wrong, they're gonna be the first one to be like, "Oh yes, Captain Eidolon, Saul here is a fuck up." Yes. Like what? Like why did you have to say that? Like, you know, you could have just, you know, let me get reprimanded without like saying anything. You know, I was gonna get reprimanded regardless, and you're just out here making it worse. Like what? Like I get his reasoning, and I get like Fulgrim's reasoning. I understand. But like even his mistake, Saul's mistake in this instance, was not even really a mistake. Again, like I believe I recall this instance with the Blood Angels, right? And it was just ultimately the right call, what he did. Eidolon is just a salty motherfucker. Like that's all it is. Like, you know, I don't know.
Perhaps you can help me overcome it. Perhaps I can learn from you.
His voice had that childlike tone in it that had made Tarvitz like him in the first place.
It's not like Lucius is a complete shitbag. He does actually care. His perspective is just warped. Yeah, exactly.
I haven't thanked you for that.
No, you haven't.
I appreciate it, but
there's
also
no need, brother.
Yeah, just like character flaw, I guess.
The other men had waited while Tarvitz and Lucius conducted their private, vox-to-vox conversation. the pair hurried to rejoin them. Over a century of grueling warfare, countless worlds, environments and habitats you couldn't even begin to describe, fighting horrifying, strange Xenos, all the way to primitive and advanced human societies. Lucius and Saul fought side by side, each putting their own life at risk in the defense of the other. With each campaign, their experience grew, till after decades, they both achieved the rank of captain, accepting the responsibility, especially as a representative as a chosen of Fulgrim. As the decades passed, the Great Crusade began to envelop more and more of the galaxy. World upon world was brought into compliance, and the authority of terror reigned over trillions. As Fulgrim, Lucius and Saul pushed even further and further, the Legion began to evolve. Their armor, their weapons, their battle barges, and even their bodies became an embodiment of the extremely high standards their Primarch had set. Lucius, Saul, and the Legion had climbed ever closer to the fruit of enlightenment. With victory upon
That's what you
victory,
want to call it.
External weakness was purged, and so began the shredding of weakness within their hearts. Enlightenment is not found outside of you. Real truth is inside of you, and always has been. To find it, you must cut away everything, lower and deeper until you reach the bottom. Once there is nothing left, all that remains is the truth. That is what is happening to you, Eternal. A legion of thousands of warriors gunning towards the height of paragons, but the interpretation of that had begun to create a divide.
Yeah.
In the latter part of the Great Crusade,
What does being good
Lucius
truly
and
mean?
Saul found themselves upon the vile planet coined Murder. Responding to a distress call sent by the Blood Angels, a task force under the direction of Lord Commander Edelman made planetfall. A decision that was made in spite of all the warnings and lack of intelligence. But glory awaited, and the great Eidolon wouldn't let others claim it. The assault was a disaster.
Yeah.
Lucius and Saul found themselves assailed by disgusting, arachnid Xenos with claws sharp enough to slice through ceramite armor. They hated these foul beasts.
Yeah, they
Their
lost
aesthetics were an
way
affront
too
to
much
the
there, didn't they?
Emperor's perfection. Their bestial attacks, their smell, the way they pinned
Lost
fallen
70% of his
brothers'
entire
bodies to
force just
thorned
landing,
trees
yeah.
like shrikes. The brothers fought back to back.
Like it was a
Saul
complete cock up on
coordinating their
Eidolon's part
surviving
there.
brothers, but Lucius was an island of his own, losing himself in the absolute focus of blood-roaring combat, taking down 2 for every 1 of his brothers. Lucius even picked up a severed alien claw to wield alongside his sword. He seemed comfortable holding an alien's blade. And besides, the disgust from his battle brothers didn't matter, as if the opinions of lessers would factor into his worldview.
Damn,
Just as
dude.
they were about to be overrun, with Lucius ensnared and Saul shielding his friend, reinforcements arrived. An ally who the Legion had once been bound to, their brother Legion, the Lunar Wolves. Reuniting
great.
with Eidolon, Saul and Lucius were chewed out. Even though they had followed the reckless path set for them, the chastisement from Eidolon was an arrogant spiel, with all the markings of an out-of-control ego.
Yeah.
To
Like, and see, it goes to show just how bad of a leader Eidolon really is when his decision results in the destruction of 70% of his fucking company immediately. And he's going to take the resulting failure of that, the stress, out on his men. Even though his men are following his orders, are conducting their job the best way that they can, he is still going to chastise them for doing what? Surviving? Like in this case, you know what I mean? Like you motherfucker, Eidolon. Like he's just not fit for command. You know what I mean? He's really not. You can't have somebody with that big of an ego in command, even in a legion where egos are fucking everywhere. You know what I mean? Like, this one is obstructive, that's for sure. Holy.
Feel with all the markings of an out-of-control ego. To Saul, a man content to just serve, who retained his humility even under Fulgrim's philosophy, he despised this arrogance. We all know the frustration and hate we feel when enduring hypocrisy. But to Lucius, Eidolon was simply a reflection of a man further up the path towards perfection. His power and position made him right. And the path Fulgrim had set out for them also meant they had to acknowledge their mistakes, even the mistakes of friends. Lucius spoke out against Saul, an act that rightfully felt like a stab in the back, a small betrayal of the near centuries-long friendship. But to Lucius, how could admitting their mistakes be betrayal? His loyalty was to the path of perfection, something Saul had placed below his bond to his brothers. But just as quickly as the conflict arose, Lucius apologized. Lucius was selfish, gifted, and obsessive, but he was not above admitting his faults too. Again, Saul had brought him back, their bond the balancing of each other's worst tendencies. Even to their Lunar Wolf reinforcements, they could see a stark
I do like the
change
relationship.
in some of the legion they had fought side by side decades ago. Just as how the Iterator Pike had seen within
It's just, I think I know
the
where it
mask
goes,
of
is the problem.
arrogance, that one day it may become the real thing. Fulgrim's sons reflected that too. Men like Eidolon, and in time, Lucius, had become the mask. Unlike Saul, who knew it for the masquerade it was. With their evacuation from murder, the honest, humble Hastati, Saul's presence had been the counterbalance to Eidolon. The bonds between legions was reaffirmed, with men such as Tarek Torgadon and Garvil Loken finding common ground with this disciplined noble marine. The captains bonded in the fighting cages, Saul even bringing Lucius with him, despite his arrogance making him an isolated figure. Upon their departure, the overconfident Lucius challenged Loken to a duel, expecting to overwhelm him with his superior blade work, but he left with a bloodied nose from a dishonorable, unarmed strike, a grudge that would fester in the years to come.
The Road to Hell? Oh god, that's aptly named. What the hell? Jesus.
The path towards damnation is not determined in the end sum of a life. The blackening of one's soul is measured by degrees, from heartbeat to heartbeat. Perdition is not born in the din and fires of war, but rather within the silence of a solitary mind.
He had ruined his perfect face.
What?
Loken. His handsome face had been a mirror to the beauty of his Primarch.
Oh my
Though
god.
he did despise the casual mockery from his brothers. In their duel that was supposed to be a test of who was the greatest swordsman, Loken had ended it with a fist directly into the bridge of his nose. It had refused to set properly, despite the attention of the legionaries' apothecaries. It was a mark, a constant reminder of his failure to be superior. A fire burned within Lucius. He needed to be better, stronger,
dude.
faster, the greatest war.
And with that one punch, Lucius's villain arc has started. Like, whoa, holy shit. Oh my god, he lost and that was it. Nah, I can't lose. That's not possible. And now he's got a fucked up nose. His nose is slightly ajar, so he can always remember that. He's gonna stare at that every time he can. Oh man.
He needed to be better, stronger, faster, the greatest warrior. And that oath was
Is a punch
renewed
illegal
every
in those
time
duels?
He looked himself in the
Genuinely
mirror.
wondering.
Following their conflict on the world of murder, Lucius and Saul would continue to build esteem within the now bustling legion. With nearly 2 centuries of war under its belt, the Emperor's children had become a source of much attention. Bureaucrats, artisans, nobles from Terra flooded to the beautiful works of art that was the Third Legion's fleet. Gorgeous marble statues, ornate golden carvings, sublime tapestries decked every surface. The evolution had been more than just external. Lucius, Saul and their brothers were as much artists on and off the battlefield. To be in the presence of the Third Legion was to see the height of humanity. The exceptionalism would overwhelm you, and you were never so aware of how ordinary and how unimpressive you were.
Loken said before the fight, all blows count. The blade isn't the only weapon we are given. Damn. Well, you should have seen that one coming then. I mean, damn, dude, like, why only focus on your sword when you got, like, fucking gauntlets on, dude? Like, yeah, crack them. Again, a punch hurts just as much. Again, they're Astartes and they're wearing their armor. A punch, and we've seen it in animations, will obliterate someone's skull. So Loken warned his ass. Like, yeah, fair warning. Like, anything goes. Yeah, you should have expected it. I'm surprised it was only a punch, to be honest.
So aware of how ordinary and how unimpressive you were. Even amongst this
was it unarmored?
exceptional
Okay.
brotherhood, Lucius and Saul had proven themselves, both with a combat record that was exceptional. In the recognition the two friends were inducted
That's the case, you got
into the
250
Brotherhood
pounds of
Phoenix,
muscle on each arm.
an unofficial warrior lodge that has spread throughout many of the legions. Supposedly a place where rank meant nothing, and all could converse as equals. That the Third's culture of distinct hierarchy had inevitably crept its way in, for some were more equal than others. Some were more perfect than others. The two Astartes stood before their Primarch, contentment beaming from them. Saul was grateful and felt that he was not worthy of such an honor, but in contrast Lucius knew that he deserved to be there. They had grown so much from Saul, the noble, humble man whose ability to bond and coordinate made him a beacon for others to rally around. A man who earned trust easily. A man you wanted to follow. Lucius had become a champion, a perfect example of the Chemosian duelist ideal, and his skill was growing. Even decades after the events on Murder, Lucius challenged Loken again, but this time claiming victory easily.
Oh,
Lucius's
really?
skill had become so great that Loken knew now there was no one in the Sons of Horus Legion who could best him.
Really?
The victory must have been exhilarating. He had improved. He was greater.
I like how, like, Loken was probably just like, you know, like, all right, yeah, like, you know, like, you beat me, good job, man. He's like, yes, and he's just fucking, like, all up in his victory. Like, he took that shit so fucking seriously because he lost last time. Meanwhile, like, Garfield was like, yeah, just getting on with his life, you know. He's like, yeah, you know, I mean, is what it is. What do you mean is what it is, you peasant? It's like, I just don't care as much as you, I guess. I don't know. Like,
exhilarating. He had improved. He was greater. The weakness had been expunged. After 2 centuries into the Great Crusade, the Emperor's children had built a reputation. The once mask of arrogance worn by Fulgrim was becoming all too real. Being treated as if being above humanity, many had begun to believe it. But this character defect would blur into something worse.
Way
as the
worse.
Legion's fleets darkened the skies of the world Laeron. The path towards damnation is not determined in the end sum of life. The blackening of one's soul is measured by degrees, from heartbeat to heartbeat. Perdition is not born in the din and fires of war, but rather within the silence of a solitary mind. Descending down to the surface of Laeron, the Third Legion's host found this intensely strange planet, crawling with chitinous, multi-limbed Xenos among towering, shimmering coral-like structures. The layer slithered through, and the melee became a bloody trudge,
shitness Xenos,
with
isn't
every
it?
inch of ground
Every
a mix
time.
of superhuman and alien blood. examinations of the layer's form under the watch of the chief apothecary Fabius Bile revealed their secrets. The layer had been altered. Their genetics had been molded. Each different caste uniquely adapted to their unique environments. Armored scales, fins, membraned wings. They had taken the base and then improved. They had been made more perfect. The suggestion of experimentation had almost made Fulgrim strike Fabius down, but the doubt, the underlying insecurity that lies underneath arrogance.
There's no way these bugs can be better than us.
The solitary mind of Fulgrim had feared only one thing, failing his father.
What?
Fulgrim couldn't fail the path towards perfection, even if the thought of mixing with Xenos DNA disgusted him.
What?
Failure was worse. The Third Legion left Laeron bloodied, many of the wounded finding themselves under the scalpel of Fabius, and a legion armed with a new precedent. Arriving back to the Legion from an operation under Lord Eidolon's command, Saul and Lucius met their Primarch, the perfect father that they in turn feared failing. Strapped to his hip was a silver blade, a gorgeous piece whose allure sent shivers down your spine, a prize taken from the ashes of the defeated Layer. The two could sense that the Laeron had changed something. The path towards perfection was accelerating.
Fulgrim, you seem different.
Received a pair of scars across his cheek from the Remembranza Serana, a push to remind him of Loken's insult to his perfection. Scars that became a promise, an oath to a victory he needed to achieve.
So he's doing it to himself. Man, what a freak, honestly.
Like meteors raining from the skies, the Emperor...
I wonder if they're going to talk more about that silver blade, though. No spoilers, of course, so maybe actually just don't even... don't tell me, but like, I wonder if that's going to like have anything to do with anything greater, because that's the first time I've heard of that blade before, so I'm going to be interested to learn a little bit more about that.
Like meteors raining
Mr.
from
Perfection
the
allows
skies,
Xenos
the
DNA to be
Emperor's
mixed with his own.
children,
Like, yeah, what the
Death
fuck are you
Guard,
talking about?
World
You know what I
Eaters,
mean?
and
Like, that's
Sons
so
of
crazy.
Horus thundered down to the
Like, I
surface
did not expect
of
this from the
Isfahan
Emperor's
3.
children.
The rebelling world would be set
Layer
ablaze
blade is significant?
as
Okay.
thousands of superhuman
Okay.
warriors obliterated all that stood in their way. Saul pushed his way through the rubble and corpses, finding Lucius at the front, a blur of ceramite that seemed to claim a life with every swing. A complex network of scars marked the once handsome face of Lucius, each one the memory of a worthy kill, a celebration of his perfection and power. Reaching to fight alongside Lucius and Lord Commander Eidolon, Saul was elated to capture the sight of a true brother, Nathaniel Garo of the Death Guard. With embers and smoke filling their lungs,
Death
the
Guard,
Hastatis
Garo.
pressed forward until they stumbled upon a strange humanoid psychic creature whose sonic blasts began to hound the Imperials. Garo was then struck,
Sounds like a
suffering
banshee, dude.
grievous injuries, and then Saul rushed over, dragging his brother to safety. They had to kill it. Rushing up to the spine-chilling monster, Saul and Eidolon managed to destroy it. But with a talent that shocked Saul to his core, an equally awful, guttural sonic beam emanated from Lord Eidolon, rendering the creature to a puddle of flesh. The battle had been won, but Saul questioned what he had witnessed. But Eidolon bade him to be silent, that what he had seen was not of his concern. Finding the wounded form of Garo, the carved
Be like, Eidolon, you motherfucker, what's wrong with you? That wasn't very human what you just did right there. It was an anomaly, soldier. Ignore it. What do you mean? How do you want me to just ignore that? Like, we all saw that. Like, what the fuck is going on? You didn't see that. Like, straight up, that's some level of denial right there, man. Like, whoa. Like, I'm perfect. Shut up. You don't know better.
Eagles met once
the
more
Legion of
as the
Egos, man.
Ceramite
Like,
gauntlets
straight up.
clanked
I feel like
together.
Saul's the
They
only
were
decent one here.
close. The both of them gave each other grief, One a legion full of stubborn, barbarous men, the other a bunch of pretty boys.
Oh.
The banter felt good, despite Saul's thoughts lingering on what he had just witnessed. Following the engagement, the secret was out, and under the direction of Lord Edelman, Saul was escorted into the bowels of the Legion ship. Translucent cylinders with eerie, humanoid forms floated within, meeting the gaze of the hated Legion's apothecary, Fabius Bile. The horrifying, world-shattering truth came to light. The spider had been altering, experimenting with gene seed. Their gene seed. Mutations taken from Xenos, such as the layer, had been grafted onto Battle Brothers. The sight disgusted Saul. The Emperor was perfection. Fulgrim had been made in his image.
And I don't really understand. I do, but I don't. Like, because he's looking for ultimate perfection no matter what that means. Like, Fulgrim, obviously, right? Ultimate perfection no matter what that means. So at that point, does that not mean that shedding your human form could lead to perfection? Or is human form the ultimate perfection, right? And in this case, you can see that clear shift where Fulgrim is like, I don't know, because like obviously, yeah, the Emperor is the ideal. He is perfect, right? But you can see Fulgrim kind of starting to maybe think like, okay, maybe this isn't perfection, right? Maybe we can be more perfect than the Emperor. Maybe how do we do that, right? And I think that's maybe where these experiments come from. That maybe that's the wrong way to think of this. Maybe like I'm just fucked up on that. But you can kind of see where he stops kind of giving a shit, I guess, in a sense. In a sense, you know? Like he's looking above the Emperor. He's trying to pursue perfection above the Emperor even. I don't know. That's what it feels like. Depends on perspective. Saul clearly saw things later while Fulgrim thinks the former. I see.
The Emperor was perfection. Fulgrim had been made in his image, just as they had tried to live in their fathers. To desecrate
Lucy now cuts symmetrical scars into his face.
Was abominable. A spit in the face of the Imperial truth. It felt wrong. Eidolon and Bile tried to convince him. With
no,
these
Saul, it's cool.
They could be more.
It'll be great.
He could be closer to perfection. But
you'll be more like the Emperor if we put Xenos DNA in you.
His
like
sense.
what?
He was the man others
Are you
decried
insane?
as destined to be a line officer and nothing more. But that did not matter. Saul wanted to be perfect, not for himself, but for the Emperor, for the Imperium, and for Fulgrim, and humanity. The captain was turned away, his refusal seen as an insult, and he was ordered to never speak of what he had seen.
What?
A deep fog
You had to sign
found
an
its
NDA?
way over Saul. The struggle within of what he had just witnessed, but worst of all, knowing that his Primarch, Fulgrim, had approved of it. The man content to be an ordinary, loyal, honourable man, made a choice. Saul relinquished his place and the spear tip of their next assault, pleading with the venerable dreadnought known as Ancient Rylanor to take his place. An almost unheard of statement by a son of Fulgrim. His friend Lucius even remarking the unfathomability of it. As Lucius, Rylanor, and contingents from the other legions made planetfall once more,
That's
Saul
sad, man.
finally discovered a truth he had never hoped to see. Virus bombs.
Oh,
prepped
God.
And ready to emulate all living things upon the surface. Lucius and his brother legionaries were going to die. They had been betrayed. Only one could have been the architect of this betrayal. The War Master, Horus.
Oh, it goes
Grabbing a
deeper than
Thunderhawk,
that.
Saul guns down to the surface, the thought of panic racing through his mind. As fire trailed in his wake, a signal was sent to the closest vessel, the Eisenstein, helmed
The
by
Eisenstein.
Nathaniel Garrow. They were ordered to destroy this renegade Thunderhawk. Perhaps if it had been anyone else in the universe, fate may have followed a different path.
Right.
Saul made contact with his friend, relaying the horrifying truth.
We're all fucked.
They had been betrayed.
Go tell everyone.
Thousands of brothers upon the surface of Istvan were moments away from annihilation. The War Master Horus and their legions have betrayed the Emperor.
Wow.
Saul begged his brother, his friend, to trust him over countless battlefields, fighting back to back, spilling blood for each other. Garrow knew that Saul never lied.
Yeah.
Garrow destroyed the pursuing ships, clearing a path for his friend. Saul asked his brother what was terror like. He asked him if he remembered what they were fighting for. Hope. Hope for humanity. The imperial truth. The two swore that they would meet again and stand side by side on Terra.
Wow. Istvan 3. Wow. So Rylanor really took the fall there. But, I mean, shit, dude. Kind of needed to happen. I mean, if it didn't happen, you know, word wouldn't have gotten out to the Imperium as a whole that, like, the Horus Heresy was happening, dude. I hate the AI-generated subtitles. Yeah, that's just YouTube's closed captions, unfortunately. We can go without the captions. It's kind of handy, you know what I mean? It is kind of handy for, like, pronunciation and stuff, you know? I don't know. And it also, like, most of the time it follows along, but, like, 15% of the time, I'd say, roughly, it does not get it right at all. You know what I mean? Like, what?
Choral City, the last bastion
This one
of
might
the
be rough.
Istvanians, who had dared defy the might of Astartes. Lucius led the spear tip, flanked by his fellow Astartes and Rylanor, ancient of rites. With ash and rubble ground beneath his tread, the dual-wielding champion of the Third rushed into the palace of the rebelling planetary governor, Vardus Praal. An almost miasmic vibration was echoing all around him, trying to seep its way into his armor. Finally, a warrior decked in ornate golden armor rushed him, creating a wound, a crack. Music flooded into Lucius. He felt his blood sing. Lights and colors seemed more vivid as he lay his eyes upon his foes. A pleasure he had known his whole life was elevated to 11. His fingers felt electric as he launched himself at Vardus Praal. To see Lucius fight was like a dance, a fluidity of deadly strikes that could be called nothing short of art. As he drove his sword through the heart of his enemy, elation filled him. Lucius had done it, and like the end of a hero's journey, he had slain the monster. A story worthy to be immortalized within the halls of Fulgrim's champions.
Unfortunately.
Just like the legends of the Legion before him. Just
Above you.
moments after his great victory,
Yeah.
Lucius heard a voice over the Vox, one he was utterly surprised to hear. He was glad to have his friend finally join the carnage, but Saul's response shocked him to his core. They had been betrayed. The legionaries on the surface had been sent here to die. The War Master, Fulgrim, had betrayed them and the Emperor. Disbelief washed over Lucius. How could this be? How could this be the truth? It must be lies. Fulgrim wouldn't send him to his death. What of all the victories he had earned for him? Look at how strong and elevated he had become for Fulgrim. He was one of the chosen. He had never failed.
That's not what he's
was
looking
loyal.
for, unfortunately.
The great destiny of the Third had left Lucius behind. And why? Because Saul had rejected it, and Lucius was his friend. His loyalty to Saul had just cost him his life. The Emperor's children, Death Guard, World Eaters, and the newly coined Lunar Wolves made a mad dash for the network of bunkers that lay below the city. Saul, Lucius, Rylanor, Garviel Loken, Tarik Torgadon, Erlen, and thousands of Hastatis loyal to the
Tarek.
Emperor stood in dark halls, as fire and hate washed over an entire world above.
Jesus.
Oceans boiled, forests melted, cities corroded, corpses and the unlucky survivors were torn apart, piece by piece, as virus bombs erase an entire culture from existence. The masks had been removed. A betrayal decades in the making was revealed. Foul entities of the warp had corrupted the War Master Horus. The Great Crusade was over.
Horus
and
starts
with
looking
his
ghetto
legions,
real quick,
Horus
dude.
would rescue
Like,
the
holy
galaxy
shit.
from the hands of an uncaring
Only takes a couple
emperor.
days, and look at him.
The galaxy would burn. A battle cry that would shape humanity for millennia. As the flames of a world on fire began to thin out, the Loyalists strode out to the eerie silence of a dead civilization. Inside all of them was confusion, and then the pulsing hatred for their betrayal. Their survival had been an oversight, a miscalculation, and the traitors would pay dearly for it. For months, the surviving Loyalists, commanded by Saul, Loken and Tarek, prepared a defense so strong it would cost the traitors 2 lives for each Loyalist. For a man who others mocked for his contentment at being a simple line officer, when the time called for him to be more, Saul rose to the challenge. His
Horus had been
care
turning
for
from
his
us. I
brothers-
know, but I more mean like his like physical appearance, right? Like, I don't know, because you always see like Horus looks normal, right? And like you see his mental state degrade, but then I feel like after his spawn, that was like the point where like he could like shed like the bullshit, like his like persona, I guess, in a sense, you know, and he could just start wearing like his like chaos attire just openly, you know, like fuck it, I'm just gonna look. I'm gonna look corrupted, you know what I mean? I'm not trying to fucking fool anyone anymore. Like, you know, like this is what's happening.
More, Saul rose to the challenge. His care for his brothers.
Yeah, like he completely lost it.
birthing
Yeah,
this
after he went into that
heightened
coma, he woke up and
ability
he was
to
like,
command.
you know?
Saul and Lucius found themselves attacked by men
Something happened
that
there.
they had once fought together on countless worlds. Men they had once shared life with and pursued the path of perfection with. Though Lucius and Saul fought together for months in this exhausting guerrilla campaign, a crack had begun to open between them. The path towards damnation begins with the silence of a solitary mind. Saul hated the traitors, but he took no pleasure from their deaths. But Lucius had begun to find a perverse relishment. His previous battle brothers were a worthy test. More scars that left a flowing of power and righteousness from each kill. Over months, the feelings of friendship Lucius had felt for a near century had begun to turn to ash in his mouth. Here was Saul, the brother who he had always seen as his equal, barking orders to him. They were the same rank, but he had the audacity to act as his superior, and the others followed Saul. But yet he had greater skill. He should have been further along the path towards perfection. For the first time in his life,
That's what this
Lucius
is over?
saw that Saul, his unambitious friend, who had natural talent, finally having ambition. Lucius had had to train ruthlessly, constantly test himself for decades, just to be Saul's equal. But what if Saul finally had ambition?
What if he
That
actually starts training?
He would surpass him. Like a
That
poison,
can't happen.
the anger grew and grew for weeks. Each sign of
Is he gonna take
friendship,
out Saul?
each display of protection became an
Bro,
insult. After another engagement against their previous commander Edelman, the jealousy, the hatred, the insecurity became too much. Lucius respected Edelman because he acted just as a Commosian was expected to. A man the product of a selfish society who prioritized power and facade over loyalty. Lucius made his choice, and in the dead of night, he made Edelman an offer. He offered Tarvitz.
Wow. And imagine like offering this shit up to like Eidolon is still on the side of guys who agreed with the bombing of Isfahan, if I'm not mistaken, right? If I'm not, Lucius is like, you know, Lucius is almost like just like returning to like an abusive home here. It feels like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just like, bro, like you can't be this down bad that you're actually going to go back with these guys, right? Like Saul, you know, he might be acting like he's better than you right now. I don't feel like that's happening. I think it's just a product of the situation you're in, but largely it's like you're not fucking stepping up to the plate. Saul is like, you know, why do you hate him for that? You know, like, come on now. Holy shit. After the chaos look came in the middle of the heresy, actually the chaos look came in the middle of the heresy. After this, he was still his green armor during this. Okay. That makes sense.
Tarvitz froze as he heard a
Lucius
voice
was a
say,
huge narcissist,
It won't do any
yeah.
good, Soul. The Precentor's palace is as good as lost.
Eidolon's an idiot, but not fully
Even
drinking
you
the
should be able
Kool-Aid
to
yet.
see
I
that.
got you.
He looked up, and he saw Lucius standing in the center of the dome in front of him, his shimmering sword in one hand and a shard of broken glass in the other. He raised the glass to his face and sliced its razor edge along the cheek, drawing a line of blood from his skin that dripped onto the dome's floor.
Lucius.
Tarvitz, rising to his feet, entered the dome to meet the swordsman.
I thought you were dead.
Bright starlight filled the dome, and Tarvitz saw it was filled with the corpses of Emperor's children, not traitors, but loyalists, and he
Wow.
could see that not one had fallen to a gunshot wound, but had been carved up by a powerful edged weapon. These warriors had been cut apart, and a horrible suspicion began to form in his mind.
Dead.
Laughed Lucius.
Me? Do you remember what Loken said to me when I humbled him in the practice cages?
Wary now, Tarvitz nodded.
He said there was someone out there who could beat you.
And do you remember what I told him?
Yes.
Replied Tarvitz, sliding his hands to the hilt of his broadsword.
You said, not in this lifetime, didn't you?
You have a good memory.
Said Lucius, dropping the bloody shard of glass to the floor.
Who's that latest scar for?
Asked Tarvitz. Lucius smiled, though there was no warmth to it.
It's for you, Soul.
You betrayed us!
Said Tarvitz, the hurt and disappointment almost too much to bear.
You killed your own men and let Eidolon and his warriors into the palace, didn't you?
I did.
Said Lucius, swinging
Idiot.
his sword in loops
Absolute
around
idiot,
his
dude.
body. As he loosened his muscles in preparation for the fight Tarvitz knew must come next.
And I'd do it again in a
Oh my
heartbeat.
god.
Tarvitz circled the edge of the dome, his steps in time with those of the swordsman. He had no illusions as to the outcome of this fight. Lucius was the preeminent blade master of the Legion, perhaps all of the legions. He knew he could not defeat Lucius, but this betrayal demanded retribution. Honor must be satisfied,
Why, Lucius?
asked Tarvitz.
How can you ask me that, Soul?
Demanded Lucius, drawing the circle
What do you mean, how can he
closer,
ask you
and
that,
step
bro? Because
by
you fucking
step,
betrayed
the
him for
distance
like
between
almost
the
no
two
reason.
warriors shrank.
Your
I am
ego.
only here to thank my misplaced acquaintance with you. I know what the Lord Commander and Fabius offered you. How could you turn such an opportunity down?
It was an abomination, Lucius.
Said Tarvitz, knowing he had to keep Lucius talking for as long as he could.
To tamper with the gene seed. How can you possibly believe that the Emperor would condone such a thing?
Literally.
The Emperor? Are you so sure he would disapprove?
Yes.
Look at what he did to the Primarchs.
Fucking 100%.
All the result of genetic manipulation.
Not with
The
Xenos, idiot.
experiments Fabius is conducting are the logical next link in that evolutionary chain. We are a superior race, and we must establish that superiority over any lesser beings that stand in our way.
Even your fellow warriors!
Spat Tarvitz, gesturing to the corpses around the dome's circumference with the blade of his sword. Lucius shrugged.
Even them.
Even
I'm
them.
going to rejoin my legion, and they tried to stop me. What choice did I have? Just like you are going to try and stop me.
You'd kill me too,
Asked Tarvitz.
after all the years we've fought together.
Don't try and appeal to my sense of fond reminiscences, soul.
Warned Lucius.
I am better than you, and I am going to achieve great things in the service of my legion.
Oh my
Either
god.
you or any foolish sense of misplaced loyalty
They tried to kill
are
you.
going to stop me.
Lucius lifted the blade of his sword
They
and
literally
dropped
tried to
into
kill
a
you.
fighting crouch as Tarvitz approached him. The dome seemed suddenly silent as the two combatants circled one another, each searching for a weakness in the other's defense. Tarvitz drew his combat knife in his left hand and reversed the blade, knowing he would need as many blades between him and Lucius as humanly possible. Tarvitz knew that there were no more words to be spoken. This could only end in blood. Without warning, he leapt towards Lucius, thrusting with the smaller blade, but even as he attacked, he saw that Lucius had been expecting it. Lucius swayed aside and swept the hilt of his sword down, smashing the knife from his hand. The swordsman ducked as Tarvitz turned on his heel and slashed high with his sword. Tarvitz's blade cut only air, and Lucius hammered his elbow into his side. He danced away, expecting Lucius to land a blow, but the swordsman merely smiled and danced around him lightly on the balls of his feet. Lucius was playing with him.
If that's the best you've got, soul, then you'd best give up now.
Smirked
Soul.
Lucius.
I promise, I'll make it quick.
Oh my god. The Horus Heresy. Is that how it went down? Oh my god. I don't know, man. Again, so far, we're halfway through now. Well, more than halfway through now. I don't know. Again, I still think Erebus so far is the bigger douche, I have to say. So far, it's still Erebus. It's still Erebus. Now, we still got an hour left, not the full story. But we're gonna see. We're gonna see. So far, still Erebus takes the cake, 100%. Now it's about to get a lot worse, I feel like.
From the pursuit of perfection in all things to ultimate depravity isn't a journey anybody makes in one step. It's a series of small ones, each one justifiable in its own isolated way. But after you've taken 100 of those small steps, you're a long way from who you were at the start.
He betrayed him, his oldest friend in the galaxy, the man who had been by his side through dozens of war zones, the man who had stood by his side in the fire and mud of battle. He had fallen. Surrounded by the corpses of their fellow legionaries, the two brothers fought, both with hate, but one with sorrow, and the other rampant jealousy. Saul knew that he could not hope to win, but he wouldn't let this be the end. The duel degraded from a dance of swords to men punching each other in the mud, an unrefined display of primal rage. With the intervention of the loyalist Solathen, Lucius was forced to retreat. It would be the last time they ever saw each other.
Damn,
Lucius
dude.
had betrayed the loyalists. His deal with Edelman had assured his place back into the fold, back towards the path of perfection at Fulgrim's side. And if it cost Saul's life, so be it. For it is only natural for ambitious men to leave behind others as they ascend. But it did burn him, not to have the scar across his cheek satisfied with a worthy kill. Recovering from another world-altering betrayal, Saul had no time to wallow. War was at his doorstep. Lucius's betrayal had left their defensive position flanked. Traitor forces began to swarm into every gap. As the brave warriors of the Emperor fell, they threw everything they had at the enemy. Each meter of ground lost would cost both sides dearly. For the man who had never let ambition take a hold of him, Saul, like a beacon of fire, rallied the last of the Emperor's children and lunar wolves together. Each new, devastating piece of information that flooded in fell flat against an iron will that rallied in the face of hopelessness. As the thousands of superhuman warriors clashed, the last of the loyalists began to whittle away under the suffocating march of Eidolon's troops. Half covered in rubble, smoke, and ash, Saul turned to the last 100 men alive. Brothers of different legions looked back at him. He knew all of
This
their
would have been
names.
rather insane.
They were all men he was honored to die by, but most importantly, he had been honored to live besides. As a silent army of
Yeah, because this isn't even just like loyalist emperor children. This is fucking like people from every legion. Like Astartes from like every legion that was, not every legion, but every legion that was on Istvan, right? So like, he is leading just a multi-conglomerate here of fucking troops, and it's pretty impressive that he was able to do that. And even leading all these different troops, it's like Lucius still got fucking jealous about that. Like, he still got jealous that they turned to him and looked to him for guidance, even though he's just a great natural leader. Like, it's so crazy to me. Like, that's what drove him over the edge. Even after his own legion tried to kill him, he still was like, oh no, I need to suck that dick harder. Like, you know what I mean? Like, why go back to them? Like, what?
he had been honored to live besides. As a silent
Like, what a
army
guy,
of
you know what I mean?
thousands stared
What a
from
guy.
kilometers away, Saul and his men looked above, through the cracked citadel roof, witnessing the death from orbit approaching. Solathen asked Saul if they had hurt them, and with his last words in the universe, Saul replied, "Yes, we hurt them here. They'll remember this." Flame and death swept over the last remaining warriors of the Emperor. An
Damn.
action that should have ended in moments took months for the traitors, a delay they would never recover from. Saul had fought for hope. The Imperial truth was that great hope for humanity.
So they just
A
fucking
view that
orbital
had to be
bombarded them.
murdered by the newly cleansed Emperor's children.
Wow.
Great men are not born great. It is something forged, and when the time came, he rose to it.
I have to say, like, wow, props to them. Yeah, they did a holding action for months. It should not have taken any amount of time for the traitor forces to wipe out that holdout, given what happened, given like the extent they went to on Istvan with the virus bombing there. But the fact that they were still able to prolong that engagement for months is insane. And they still had to orbital bombard them again to finally get rid of them. Props to them, man. Props to them. Yeah, Saul is fantastic. You can see why Saul's deeds are... you can see why we sing Saul's deeds so loudly and proudly. Yeah, I can see that for sure. Definitely seems like a great leader. Like, shame this is how he had to go out,
Saul
though.
climbed, becoming the man others needed.
Do you imagine
him
this guy
to
on
be.
Terra? Fuck.
It was perfection.
He cracked.
Victorious. Lucius was welcomed back.
The Emperor's
into
children
his
had more
legion.
guys like him.
The two brothers who had embodied each side
Would
of
have
the
been a much
coin
different legion.
That was the Third Legion and Fulgrim. Now one side was facing down permanently, expunged. Finally, Lucius was back upon the path that Fulgrim followed, and the truth was revealed to him. The Emperor was not perfection. He was an obstacle. He had hidden the truth from them about the warp, about the gods, the primordial truth of chaos. A new prerogative had begun to spread throughout the Legion. Lucius and the others could sense this unspoken permission to explore, to take the pursuit of perfection and to ramp it up, cast down the barriers of morality, for it was only an obstacle. The Third Legion's pursuits became excessive.
Shoot this shit into your veins. It'll make you feel better.
Vibrant.
You'll be more better with it. You'll be more
Genetic
perfect.
splicing, a sight that once horrified Saul Tarvitz, was embraced. They relished in acts that were taboo, because each new sensation, each new experience opened their eyes to how laughably naive their previous image of perfection was. Where
What does
once
that
had been a
mean?
level of self-belief,
How is this
bordering
perfect?
on
You
the
people are
level of
crazy.
arrogance, Lucius stepped over the line, and it became the real thing. He was the greatest duelist in the Legion. His
But wouldn't it be
newfound
cool if you had a
depravity
demon claw?
elevated him, taking a simple test of
Like
life
what?
and death to a torturous
Are you insane?
display of utter superiority. Just as how he left cuts and scars on his opponents in his youth, that sadistic streak rose again. With each pathetic enemy defeated, it felt incredible. We tell ourselves lies, such as, when I have power, I will be just. I would wield it and shape the world into a better place. Oh, the pride of mankind, to think you would not be corrupted, that you would not let the adrenaline pumping, enchanting sensation change you. The galaxy...
Now, I feel like the right person, absolutely, they can handle that for sure. But I feel like Lucius, the problem is even in his youth, I feel like Lucius was like the kid that was out there like torturing puppies and shit like that. You know what I mean? Like, he wasn't a good dude to start with, right? He was very, very good at what he did. He was very athletic, very gifted with a sword. And that's, you know, aided his ascension into his Astartes for sure. Gave him an advantage there. But he was never really a great dude. You know what I mean? He was always just an arrogant narcissist that like was always putting people down to get himself ahead. You know what I mean? So I feel like with the right person, absolutely you can have power and it can be wielded responsibly. We see that plenty of times, you know what I mean? In 40K alone even, you know, where, you know, an Astartes is actually a decent person. He's not just a complete jackass because he doesn't have to be, right? He's got nothing to prove. Fucking Lucius has everything to prove. Everything to prove. But to himself, mainly. It's not even to anyone else. It's literally mostly to himself.
Enchanting sensation change you.
More so
The
skip the
galaxy
puppies and just
was
beats
at
other kids with
war.
sticks.
The
Yeah, fair enough.
unthinkable had happened.
Yeah, he
The
skips
favoured son
animals
of the
entirely and just
Emperor,
started
Horus Lupercal
beating
had
kids.
turned traitor. Sides were being drawn up. And so Lucius and the Emperor's children began their preparations for the next stage. The galaxy was about to burn. As the Legion approached their next target, the Emperor's children gathered upon Fulgrim's flagship, the pride of the Emperor. All were mandated to listen to a masterpiece, a symphony crafted by the renowned Bekwa Kinska, one of the many
Kinska.
remembrancers who had clawed their way to be attached to the renowned and magnificent Third Legion during the Great
joyous.
Crusade. In the grand theatre of La Fenice, Lucius, Fulgrim, and their brethren all bore witness to the masterpiece known as Maravaglia. Music drafted from the inspiration taken upon their previously conquered world of Leron. As Lucius began to listen, he spotted strange,
Time to get the
new
Kool-Aid.
musical equipment that he had never seen before. Pieces that began to emanate a sound unlike anything he had ever heard before. The vibrations began to
Kitty
ripple
wanted in
through
there.
their bodies, a sense of pure ecstasy, beauty, and disorientation shot through thousands of mortals and superhumans. Mania roared through Lucius's head as he joined into a mosh pit of slaughter and hedonism around him.
Jesus.
The debased music blurred the lines between the warp
Debased
and real
music.
space, and for the first time in his life,
They're just having a
Lucius
mega rave.
saw demons, creatures of spine-tingling beauty and horror, something only a foul mind could truly appreciate. Possessing the bodies of Bekwa Kinska and the other performers, pure chaotic taint washed over Lucius and the Legion.
Oh,
all
literal chaotic
laughing
taint, I'm
and
sure.
crying as they fueled their new patron god, Slaanesh, she who thirsts. Arriving upon the world of Istvan V, Lucius and the Third descended down to the surface, preparing for an ambush against the incoming loyalist forces. Utter delight burned inside Lucius as he almost drooled at the idea of slaying more Hastatis. Chances to enjoy the torture, enjoy the superiority and pleasures of war, as the Iron Hands, Salamanders, and Raven Guard, accompanied by numerous Titan legions and Imperial Guard, began their march against the Emperor's children, Sons of Horus, World Eaters, and Death Guard. One of the largest, bloodiest battles in human history began. A torrent of blades, bolt shells, plasma fire, and armor crashed into a cacophony of violence. So overwhelming, it would melt what little sanity you possessed. As the Emperor's children clashed head to head with the Iron Hands, a tirade of purple and black armor smashed against each other. Once the closest of all the legions, with Fulgrim and Ferrus Manus
Now
sharing
butchering
the
each other.
greatest bond between all Primarchs. But now men Lucius had once fought with on numerous campaigns fell to his impeccable blade work. More scars, honoured with corpses. Each betrayal felt a little sweeter.
Oh my
mix of
God.
recognition, sorrow,
What a sick
and
motherfucker.
then delight at having crushed a being now beneath him. The power.
Honestly, man, again, I feel like just like absolute freaks, you know? Like absolute fucking freaks. And Lucius is sitting there like cutting himself before he goes and kills somebody, you know what I'm saying? Like, damn, dude. No, I get getting worked up, but dude, like absolute fucking degeneracy is what's going on here in the third, you know what I mean? Like after a certain point, it's just like hot damn. Lucy wasn't actually here for this performance. It happened before Fulgrim got to Istvan. Oh, did it? Oh, okay. Shit, okay, so maybe a little mix up in the lore there, perhaps. Big E's kids had turned hard before they got to Istvan. Lucy saw how crazy they had become when he rejoined them and still drank the Kool-Aid. Yeah, so he's just like, man, you guys are fucking insane. Think I'll stick around, though. Like, think this is up my alley. I think I'm into this shit. Damn, dude.
At having crushed a being now beneath him, the power was exhilarating. As the three loyalist legions tried to retreat, the full horror of the betrayal was revealed as the Night Lords, Iron Warriors, Word Bearers, and Alpha Legion turned upon their supposed allies. It became an apocalyptic slaughter, leading to Lucius bear witness to a moment of history as his Primarch Fulgrim beheaded Ferrus Manus.
Oh.
A Primarch had died. The celebrations and trophies of the dead adorned the Third Legion ships. Pieces were turned into art, and captives were taken for experimentation.
Oh God.
Lucius's skill and laser ambition had allowed him into the inner circle. Now he stood by Fulgrim's side, a place he knew he deserved to be in. As a token of his office, Fulgrim gifted to him the Leia blade, the exquisite silver saber that had taken the head of a Primarch.
I want the AI song on the Fulgrim clone to be canon. A loyalist Fulgrim returned and summoning the Legion of the Dead, led by the brother he once killed, all to bring justice of the Empire. Yeah, that song was fucking sick, I have to say. I really actually enjoyed that AI song. And I have to say, too, what an awesome concept that would be. Like, and a Fulgrim clone that, like, you know, basically before he made that mistake, before Fulgrim got the idea in his head to mix fucking Xenos DNA, and before he thought he knew better than the Emperor, if he still saw the Emperor as perfect, what a great like story arc that would be within 40k. I'm not gonna lie, that'd be very, very interesting seeing another Fulgrim run around and just seeing the confusion amongst the Imperium, because they'd be like, that looks a lot like that looks like a lot like Fulgrim, didn't it? And like, you know what I mean? Like, and they'd be like, nah, couldn't be him. Fulgrim's a fucking snake boy now. And it's like, no, I think that's him. Like, what? Looks like a lot like a normal ass Fulgrim to me.
The exquisite silver saber that had
Before he
taken
took the demon
head
sword,
of a
true.
Primarch.
Yeah.
As the months began to roll by, with the Imperium divided
sword.
and burning, the Emperor's children conquered planet after planet, each battle resulting in Lucius and the Legion pushing further upon the boundaries of excess. But something had caught the eyes of Lucius, being in such close proximity to his Primarch.
Or is that a different
the
sword?
man who he had seen as a god in his childhood on Chemos. All the way to the Primarch achieving perfection, he noticed something was wrong. Fulgrim seemed lesser. Perhaps Lucius himself had become so powerful that he had caught up. But it was different. Fulgrim began to make tactical mistakes. His knowledge of Legion traditions and rites seemed faulty. Lucius even witnessed him perform psychic abilities.
Whoa.
And even in sparring, two slayers that Fulgrim had overseen personally with all his senior officers, Lucius seemed to best him. A Primarch? Dark dreams and whispers haunted Lucius, leading him to the heart of the La Fenice theatre. Peering into this corrupted place, he saw a perfect portrait of his Primarch, with eyes showing horror too real for human hands to capture. Lucius was shocked. Lucius convened with the Brotherhood of the Phoenix, the Inner Circle. All despised him for his arrogance, for it was even too much for them to bear. But Lucius
Now
was
he's
not
shit-talking the
stupid,
Primarch
for he
too.
understood minds similar to his. He challenged their egos and stroked their vanity, tempting them into boldly capturing
A lot of
their
stroking
Primarch,
going on, I'm
for
sure.
Fulgrim was not himself. In a
Too
bloody
much stroking.
struggle, with many casualties, the Legion's senior officers restrained the fraud and began to torture him, only for realization to strike. Fulgrim let the ruse go and broke instantly from his restraints. The true Fulgrim stood before them, and he revealed the truth. It had been a demon bound in the layer blade that had possessed him, a cretin that now resided within the painting, baiting Lucius to free it. The ruse by their Primarch had been a test and a revelation.
So there was straight up a demon in the layer blade, and when Fulgrim possessed it, it attached to him, I guess. And I guess, I don't know if the demon is attached to the blade or now if it's attached to Fulgrim himself, right? Because now Lucius has that blade. The same blade that killed that Primarch. So I wonder if it's like the weapon is the cause of possession, or if it's a demon attaches to the weapon, attaches to the user kind of thing, right? And I guess it manipulated Fulgrim to its end already, so at that point, what's it matter, right?
The ruse by their Primarch had been a test and a revelation. A metamorphosis
Fulgrim has
of
expelled it
Fulgrim
himself,
fully
I see.
embracing their corruption. That now their path of perfection belongs to Slanesh. A new path for Lucius to follow.
Angel Exterminatus, oh god. That doesn't sound very profitable.
The call of death is a call of love. Death can be sweet if we answer it in the affirmative.
Yikes.
If we accept it as one of the great eternal forms of life and transformation. The moment where man becomes something greater than his rude beginnings. A flying, godlike, shimmering, diaphanous, beautiful creature.
Oh my.
You have some skill,
He said, as they circled one another. The warrior didn't reply. And
Told
only
you it
then
was
did
significant?
Lucius
Yeah,
know that he
damn.
was no Ironhand.
Raven Guard.
Very
He
significant.
said,
Literally a
recognizing
demon in
the
that
grip,
blade.
Stance, and angle of blades favored by Korax's shadow warriors.
That explains why you're still alive.
The Raven Guard attacked in a darting series
Raven
of blinding
Guard.
feints, high cuts, and dazzlingly fast thrusts that Lucius parried, dodged, and backed away from in an increasingly swift-paced duel. The warrior wasn't just skilled, he was talented too, gifted even.
I haven't killed any blackbirds in a while. Since Istvan, at least.
Giggled Lucius.
Oh my
the
God.
warrior didn't react to Lucius's goading, which marked him as even more skilled than he'd thought. Realizing he would not easily get a rise out of the Raven Guard, Lucius put aside his need to humiliate his opponent as well as defeat him. Time and time.
See, I feel like that tactic won't work on every like legion, you know what I mean? Like the Raven Guard, I feel like are pretty on, you know what I mean? Like they're not going to let themselves get goaded into an attack like that just via words, like especially one as serious as this. They know like the stakes. I'm pretty sure Raven Guard are pretty fucking turned on. I appreciate their skill.
To humiliate his opponent as well as defeat him. Time and time again they came at each other, spinning like dancers.
Sharokin, the best Raven Guard. He's the only one I remember.
One of the performers. Lucius studied the warrior as they fought. His movements were like oil in the air, a slick progression of flowing poise. His blade work was flawless, technically perfect, but empowered by an innate understanding of the art form of the sword. With a start, Lucius realized that this warrior was almost the equal of him. A jolt of uncertainty flooded Lucius at the thought that the warrior had a chance of besting him.
Oh,
he laughed.
Doubts instantly going into his head.
Finally met a worthy foe.
No,
his
maybe
every
not.
nerve surging at the idea of defeat. The Raven Guard sprang at him with his twin black swords extended before him. Lucius rolled aside and sprang to his feet in time to block a downward cut and scissored his body to avoid a disemboweling slash to the gut. His own sword lanced down to the Raven Guard's neck, but a burst of thrust carried the warrior away again. Lucius unhooked the whip he had taken from dead Kalimos, letting the barbed length of it uncoil like a hungry snake.
Just me and thee now,
said Lucius, removing his helm and tossing it aside.
Oh, main character
He reached
energy.
up and raised a well on his cheek, a scar that should have long since healed, but which had been kept raw and marked with caustic powders.
You cut me before, and I will always treasure that wound. But that's all you're getting, Raven Guard.
Jesus.
Sharokin.
What?
My name.
Sharokin.
Said the warrior.
It's Nikona Sharokin. Just so you know who it is that's killed you.
Damn,
Nikona
dude.
Sharokin.
That's
said
pretty cold.
Lucius, rolling the name around in his mouth, as though experiencing a new flavor.
No, that's not the name of a man that can kill me.
Oh.
Don't get to decide.
Said Sharokin, one sword held high over his head, the other extended low. They circled one another warily, each aware of the other's skill, and knowing they were well matched. Neither paid heed to the battles raging around them, the life and death struggles being played out in the ruins of a dying race's tomb. All
A
that
dying
mattered
racist
was the
tomb.
purity of the duel.
Whoa.
All other pretenders to this fight were
Holy
dead.
shit.
And all that remained to be decided was which of them
my God.
would walk away. Lucius attacked first, lashing his whip at Sharokin's head. The barb-tipped scored a line through the faceplate and left eye lens.
These
Lucius followed up
subtitles,
with a
yeah,
low
what
cut
the
to
fuck?
the thigh.
That was a good
redirecting
one.
at the last instant for the groin. Sharokin read the move and blocked with the cross blades, spinning on his heel to hammer his elbow into Lucius's head. But Lucius wasn't there, rolling forwards beneath the blow to thrust his blade at the
Lucius
base
is
of
just too
Sharokin's
cocky here,
spine.
man.
More flames
He's got
from the
reason to
Raven
be,
Guard's
but-
jump pack carried him away from the paralyzing
yeah.
strike.
And he's got
Spun
the
as
jump
he
pack.
landed to face Lucius once more.
You're fast, son of Korax.
Said Lucius.
Too fast for you, traitor.
Lucius smiled.
You won't goad me into foolishness.
Even before Lucius finished speaking, Sharokin gunned his jets again. Instead of dodging, Lucius leapt up to meet the Raven Guard with his whip, slashing and his sword stabbing. He saw the black outline of the Raven Guard coming at him and stabbed his sword into where Sharakin's throat would be. His blade struck only empty air.
Damn.
And the shock of that almost cost him his life. Somehow, impossibly, the Raven Guard wasn't there. A blade plunged into his side, and Lucius twisted away from the fiery, unexpected, and exquisite pain.
Damn.
Lucius spun,
He actually got
feeling
stabbed.
suddenly helpless as the Raven Guard slipped around him with dizzying speed.
Wow.
His blade stabbing again and again. Then the Raven Guard was at Lucius's back, pushing him to his knees.
Damn.
Blades pressed down through his gorget into the hollows either side of his neck.
It gives me no pleasure to do this,
said Sharakin.
You are nothing to me.
Damn.
Simply a rabid dog that needs to be put down.
Fuck.
Lucius tried to speak,
Aw.
to say something to mark his death. Sharakin's blade stabbed down.
Don't even give him the
behind Lucius's
opportunity. Just
collarbone,
fucking.
tearing through his heart and lungs, severing arteries and wreaking catastrophic damage that not even a Space Marine's post-human physiology could undo.
Damn,
And
dude.
all
I straight up imagine he just like fucking you know, like the Skyrim execution where like, yeah, like straight up, like the guy kneels in front of you, you got your dual swords and you just fucking decapitate them. I just imagine that's what he did. He tries to go speak. He's just like, no, fucking that'd be a fucking cool way to go out. But no, wow, he actually worked him there. He stabbed him multiple times. He got one clean one in. And Lucius just, again, not used to feeling pain, I'm assuming, like that level of pain. He emits pain on himself to kind of, for lack of a better word, turn himself on, you know what I mean? Get himself going. But actually getting stabbed like that, he is not a fucking tank. Like, he'll get stabbed and that's it. Like, he's glass cannon, for lack of a better word, it seems like, you know?
Space Marines' post-human physiology could undo, and all thoughts of worthy valediction died with him.
Also, what a
The
badass
call of
Raven
death
Guard,
is a call
Shadowkin,
of
Jesus.
love. Death can be sweet if we answer it in the affirmative, if we accept it as one of the great eternal forms of life and transformation, the moment where man becomes something greater than his rude beginnings, a flying, godlike, shimmering, diaphanous, beautiful creature. Years of climbing down the descent of madness had become Lucius's, and the Emperor's children's climb towards their path of perfection. The traitor forces had gone from what was a deviation in character to the personification of the worst traits of humanity.
Literally.
Lucius, Fulgrim, and the Emperor's children had fully let the corruption flow over them. For Lucius, this only seemed to accentuate his worst tendencies. He acknowledged the gods. He knew of the great boons of Slaanesh, but he did not bow and grovel. He wholeheartedly believed he did not need to earn anything. For he was the greatest swordsman, the greatest duelist. He took what he wanted. He followed where he wanted. He indulged in what he wanted. The corruption of Slaanesh had become more psychological for him. The thrill of killing was nothing compared to the overwhelming influx of pleasure he felt, slowly picking apart his opponents. His mind had been
He likes
changed.
toying with his enemies.
To acknowledge any mistakes was weakness, imperfect. To point out a flaw or to chastise Lucius, he felt an overwhelming sense of anger, a threat to his self-image. It was abhorrent and had to be crushed violently. A self-defense mechanism that lacked the strength to acknowledge shortcomings, to acknowledge insecurities. But to Lucius he had none, so they were all lies. Gone was the man who had apologized to his friend Saul. Gone was the man who had brothers and friendship, for he was above it all. As the Imperium burned for years, hundreds of worlds crushed under the shadow of the depraved Third Legion, Fulgrim finally directed his forces together towards a new goal. A weapon that could turn the tide, as the traitors began to turn their attentions towards Terra itself. Assembling before Perturabo, the Primarch of the Iron Warriors, and his legion, they saw what the Third Legion had become. 500 warriors in the shimmering purple of the Emperor's children emerged from the smoke, and their appearance drew a gasp of shock from the assembled Iron Warriors.
You people are
Lashes
freaks.
of vivid pigment were spattered over contrasting hues and clashing colours, offending the eyes with their garish disregard for the Legion's heraldry. Jagged spikes jutted from pauldrons, and their helmets were Byzantine winged affairs. The heart within was reflected. Lucius wore upon his battle plate displays of ravenous excess. Slaves dragged in chains in this parade of madness. Flayed skin artworks, fumes that began to tickle the heart and spine of any who dared partake.
Jesus,
the sight
man.
was disgusting, only appreciated by those too devolved to have sense.
Literally.
With Lucius as his personal guard,
Perturabo is probably like, what the fuck is going on here? Is this what I have to look like? Seeing the Emperor's children is probably like one of the big reasons why like Perturabo just like turns away from all that shit. He's like, is this really like, is this what we have to look forward to? Like, seriously? Like this right here? No, it ain't happening. There ain't no way, dude. Like, Jesus. And like, it is just disgusting. Even if you are a traitor, right? If you're one of like the more moderate traitors, this shit is just like, this is way too far. Like, you can see why, like, you can see why Perturabo's Legion just straight up, like, they were traitors, but they also, like, weren't heretics in a sense. Does that make sense, I guess?
who devolved to have sense. With Lucius as his personal guard, Fulgrim came to offer his brother Perturabo the chance to claim this weapon.
Turncoats,
the
not
Angel
heretics.
Exterminatus together. Their path took them directly into the Eye of Terror, the malignant storm that was a breach from real space into the warp. As the traitorous forces followed the grueling path, they were ambushed. A cruiser ship, the Sissu Fem, a mashing together of loyalist survivors of Istvan V, launched themselves at the traitors. It felt exhilarating for Lucius once more to test himself upon Astartes, and the layer blade in his hands tasted Ironhand's blood once more. In the midst of the melee, Lucius caught sight of a shadow in his periphery, a darting figure that finally made a killing strike. A cut was cleaved across Lucius's face. Only one. Garviel Loken had ever left a mark upon him, and a fresh wound filled him with maddening delight and hate. This pathetic little raven had cut him. Finally a challenge to test himself, to see how much more perfect he was becoming. The two would clash again upon the surface of the Crone world the traitors were assaulting, each traitor force leaving ancient Eldari automaton corpses in the wake of their march. Again the shadow came for him. The surviving loyalist ambushed them. Just before the Eldar citadel, Nakonia Sharokin of the Raven Guard's black emotionless eyes looked into the bloodshot, mad ones of Lucius. Lucius began to taunt and goad him, enjoying himself. But quickly he found he had to use all of his concentration. He was being matched. His opponent's skill was equal. Impossible. For how could any be his equal? Blades clash in a whirl
Way too
and
arrogant,
dance, so fast that other Astartes would have been
like reasonably, and I guess like Lucius has beaten some top people, don't get me wrong, he's beaten some top contenders from legions, right? But he hasn't fought every legion. Like, he hasn't fought the best of every legion, and even if he has, people are always getting better. Skill is always being improved. To sit there and think you're the king and that you always will be, That's like such a fucking like bad take to have. That's such a bad thing to have in your head, right? That's like Tony Hawk. Like, could you imagine if like Tony Hawk today, right? Is just sitting there saying like he's the best skater in the world. Like, you know what I mean? If he's still today saying that, like that would be so fucking abhorrent. You'd be like, what the fuck, Tony Hawk? Like, you're high. Like, there's no way, right? Like, you know, because nowadays, like the skill level as time goes on, people are just fucking way, way, way better than like Tony Hawk was back then, right? And that's just how it is, right? Like, I don't know what else to say. So like the fact that Lucius is just sitting here thinking like, I'm the fucking best. I'll always be the best. Nah, bitch. No, especially when you've like eradicated, like you went out of your way to kill so many Raven Guard on Istvan. This motherfucker has a massive motivator to take you down and to hate you and to be better than you. You know what I mean? You're out there trying to goad. He's taking this 100% all the time. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the difference.
National whirl and dance.
Dude wasn't even
so
top
far
5.
that other Astartes would have been overwhelmed.
You know what I mean, though.
The
You know what I
duel
mean.
Was incredible. No one had pushed Lucius this far before. As Lucius made his attempt to end this little plaything, twin black swords plunged into his dual hearts. Blood poured from him as Lucius heard words he had dreaded most in this universe.
You suck.
It gives me no pleasure to do this. You are nothing to me. Simply a rabid dog that needs to be put down.
That is cold
the
as
last
fuck.
vestiges of life left Lucius. But this seemingly miserable end had not gone unnoticed. For the call of death...
Slaanesh was
is a
like, we can't be
call of
having that.
love. Death can be sweet. A chance
You're
to
mine now,
become
bitch.
something greater. A godlike, shimmering, diaphanous, beautiful creature.
That's what you want to call it, I suppose. Rebirth? Oh, great. I assume now he's going to be accepting
Always,
some gifts,
it was
maybe.
just ahead of him, taunting him, drawing him on. Right now it appeared as a slender minreti of fluted ivory and mother of pearl, with a coupler that burned in silver fire. It stood amidst the thick forests of trees that ride with their own sick radiance. Living flames leapt from branch to branch, giggling with childish amusement, as the forest grew and fell back, denying him a way through.
Scared of me, are you?
The blue flame at the top of the tower flared brighter in response. Lucius drew his sword, its radiant silver. It had been a gift from his Primarch, too noble a weapon for hewing, but needs must. Lucius hacked at the glass trees, shattering glowing limbs to fragments with every swing. He pushed deeper into the glittering forest, shorn branches reforming behind him with the sounds of windows breaking in reverse. The capering flames screeched in annoyance, but Lucius ignored them. They darted in and sought to burn him. He unhooked the barbed wire that he had lifted from Calamos and lashed them back. They squealed and fled each agonizing touch. Then the forest parted, and Sanak's tower was before him. Closer now, he saw the mercury-bright flame, veining the structure like a living thing. A warrior in crimson armor stood in a dueling circle of flattened sand before the tower. Twin swords hung at his waist. One pommel cat with a dark jackal's head, the other a white hawk. Both were hooked Kopesh blades with strange shimmering curves, which gave Lucius a thrill of anticipation. To face a new blade was always interesting.
I hear you've been looking to fight me, Lucius.
Sanak said. The warrior's face was obscured behind a helm with a silver crest and faceplate.
Are you Sanak?
I am Sanact of the Athenaeans, yes.
I've come to fight you.
Is it your wish to die?
Oh my
Lucius
God.
laughed.
I think I've tried that once already, so I'm not about to try that again.
Sanak's
Every time Lucy's killed and the killer takes some form of pride and joy at the win, he possesses them and they slowly turn into him with one more face showing on his armor. Really? Oh, is that what it is? Jesus. So he corrupts them through his death. That's kind of fucked up, I'm not gonna lie. Wow. What an interesting way to like handle possession and handle like his death. You know what I mean? Like, because yeah, you're like, I killed Lucius, that son of a bitch. Yeah, you thought he was the best. Yeah, I just slapped my nuts on his face, and then like, nah. Then you actually just turn into him. He just possesses you. That's crazy, man.
It's already, so I'm not about to try that again.
Sanax removed his helmet.
Can't even revel in your
revealing a
victory when you fight him.
face,
What a sore loser.
close-cropped ash blonde hair, innocently handsome in
Like-
a way that
Like, imagine you go up for a teabag on Lucius, and then he just possesses your ass. Like, come on now. Like, that's not fair. Like, come on. Like, what?
face and close-cropped ash blonde hair, innocently handsome in a way that Lucius couldn't wait to destroy.
Your feelings say different. You want to know why you came back. That is why you sought me out, to find a swordsman as skilled as a raven, one who revels in the kill.
Sanax said.
They tell me you're good.
I'm the best of my legion.
That's not saying much.
Lucius hissed. Lucius put the whip to his belt and entered the dueling circle. Sanax drew his swords, one crystalline-edged and glittering with witch fire, the other a simple energy blade. Lucius rolled his shoulders and swung his blade to loosen his wrists. He had sparred with his own legion, but had stopped short of killing anyone since Yidris. No such restraint was needed here. He circled Sanact, studying his movements, assaying his reach and footwork. He was strength and speed, confidence that crossed into arrogance. So like himself it was almost funny.
I assure you, I will defeat.
Lucius attacked. Before the Thousand Suns warrior finished speaking, all of his strikes were repulsed with casual ease. They broke apart and circled again, studying one another, using obvious cuts and feints to test the other's mettle.
You have natural ability, but I have studied every school of blade since the first swords were hacked from the
Just post the
Dobruja
pic of
flint
Lucy's
beds of
40k
old
model on
Earth.
Discord.
Sanact said. They came
Hobby
together
model
again in
miniature
the clash
section?
of blades.
Let's actually take a look at that real quick. I'm actually kind of curious. Let's see here. Hobbies in the model miniature, you're saying? Let's see. Oh, yeah. Damn. Look at that. Holy shit. My God, dude. That actually looks pretty good. I'm not going to lie. I like the look of that a lot. I imagine that'd be really hard to paint, though. Like, look at all the color you got to, like, be detailed with. That looks really nice, though. I like the look of that a lot. Holy shit, man. Wow. That looks awesome. Little plug to our Discord, too. If you guys aren't in it, come join us. I see that. Also, I see Jackass in the campfire there. If you guys want to go chat, feel free. You know, we got a lot of people in Discord now. I got to say, we got 100 people in here over now. That's very impressive. And we are going to be doing a giveaway on the Discord at some point, too. I know Tent made a post about that. We are going to be doing that soon. So stay tuned for that.
Sanact was
Thank you for sharing
blindingly
that, Andrew. I
fast,
appreciate that.
his two weapons moving in perfect concert. Lucius could fight with two swords, but preferred the focus of a single blade. Sanac's blades cut high and low, forcing him to work twice as hard to keep them at bay.
Your thoughts betray you.
Sanact said. Lucius heard the first traces of amusement in Sanact's voice.
You fight with passion, but I can feel every attack before you make it.
Are you actually giving me tips on technique?
Sneered Lucius. Sanact swayed aside from a throat-opening thrust.
I am a scholar of martial knowledge. It is my duty to pass on what I have learned to others by example.
Thanks, but I don't need your help.
Retorted Lucius.
You are manifestly incorrect.
Damn,
Anger
dude.
touched Lucius, but instead of controlling it, he let it consume him. An angry swordsman made mistakes, but now he needed that anger. He threw himself at his opponent, disregarding any notion of defense, just going for the kill. He wanted to take this arrogant cur apart, to gut him without mercy and without finesse, to give him an ugly death. Sanac turned the attacks aside with lightning-fast parries and ripostes, but Lucius kept up with unrelenting pressure. He forced him back to the edge of the circle, relishing the confusion he saw in Sanact's eyes. No longer able to pick out Lucius's emotions from the morass of anger, Sanact was falling back onto techniques learned by rote and ancient teachers, and that just wasn't good enough.
Did he lose that
Lucius
one, I wonder?
awoke upon the apothecarian table. He had died. He was sure of it. Twin blades had pierced his heart,
this
and
is
yet
okay.
he lived. Nakonia Sharokin, the Raven Guard, had defeated him, and he took no pleasure from it. A thought that was utterly alien to Lucius's mind. If
To Loser's
anyone had
mind?
achieved
Damn,
the
dude.
impossible
Guess you could
and
say that.
defeated him, how could they not roar with triumph? How could they not be overcome with satisfaction? The champion of the 3rd Legion had walked a path of perfection, a journey rife with ambition, betrayal, and sedition, a life of utter focus on blade work. It consumed him, creating this mad feed that exuded pleasure from slaying his foes, demonstrating his power and perfection. Dark eyes bore down on the boy from Chemos, taking utter delight in each vile act he did, fueling the Prince of Pleasure. Even the cursed apothecary Fabius Bile had no idea how Lucius had returned to life, a mystery he would begin to understand in the years to come. Following the events of the Angel Exterminatus, the 3rd Legion was directionless. Fulgrim's grand quest had succeeded, and he had become the Angel Exterminatus, fueling a dark apotheosis with a life force stolen from his brother Perturabo, a multi-limbed, sensual,
Sometimes the
snake-like
reasoning for his
entity
possession
born
really
into
pushes the boundaries of what
existence
counts as
as
pride.
Fulgrim ascended into a demon Primarch.
In what ways?
Leaderless, elements of the Legion scattered, turning into warbands that simply ravaged the galaxy, loosely under the authority of the corrupted War Master Horus. Lucius's ego had been hit. He needed to reclaim his feelings of power again. He needed to prove
Motherfucker's
to
got too
himself
much ego.
that he was close towards perfection. He needed to fight the deeply riddled insecurity of weakness, and so he sought out worthy challenges. Sanact of the Athenaeans, a surviving member of the broken Thousand Sons, was a name whispered to Lucius, and Hastati said to be the greatest, something the vile Lucius couldn't resist.
Literally.
Alone, Lucius made his way to the crumbling ruins of
So now
the
he's gotta
planet
go
of the
beat up
Sorcerers,
1,000 sons
cutting his way
in
through
martial
a
combat.
glass
Hope that makes you feel
forest
good,
until he
Lucius.
finally met his opponent.
Like, what the fuck?
2 arrogant men faced each other, both far cries from the men they were during the Great Crusade, both more powerful, but yet both lesser too. The duel had begun, and the two matched each other with blinding speed. It was the pinnacle of martial contest, as each stroke was utterly perfect, pulling deep from that pit of malice that had always been a part of him. Lucius finally disarmed Sanact, but before he could claim his prize, the Thousand Son was saved with the intervention of Azek Ahriman, the first captain of the Thousand Sons.
Oh shit,
Lucius
Ahriman.
was furious and decided he would accompany Ahriman on his quest to retrieve the Iron Oculus for the sole purpose of waiting for an opportunity to duel Sanac.
Oh my god.
Thousands of bodies
You
fell
petty
to
motherfucker.
Lucius's blade upon the quest. As the group finally made their way to the world of Nike, the Thousand Sons, Lucius, and their Imperial enemies both became trapped within a crystal labyrinth. Within this shimmering labyrinth, Lucius was confronted by the forms of Sanact, Garviel Loken, and Nakonia Sharokin, ghosts of his one true fear, losing. Drawing the layer blade, Lucius attacked, defeating them all, overcoming the insecurity of weakness. But at the moment of triumph,
literally fought his insecurity.
Where he would release the burdens to his perfection, he saw it. He saw a reflection of his previous, uncorrupted self, Lucius, the son of Chemos, servant of the Emperor, and friend of Saul Tarvitz. How far had he fallen? But any semblance of reflection or sorrow could not reach his heart. He screamed as he only perceived a reminder of his weaknesses. Lucius was swallowed by the crystal maze, lost within this mad prison, only escaping to enact a rage against the material universe.
Jesus.
He lay in that fog until a psychic scream rippled through every fibre of his being. Fulgrim. Just on instinct he knew what this meant. Their lord was calling his children to his side. Lucius returned as the remnants of the Third Legion gathered in preparation for the end game. The Siege of Terror. The shambling, disgusting, sensual mess that was the Emperor's children darkened the skies of the throne world, genetically manipulated, with all manner of sensory machines grafted, with iconography.
He apparently died to a landmine before and possessed the factory worker who made it because the worker took pride in his work. He died to a landmine? Really? You're telling me Lucius the Eternal stepped on a fucking landmine, blew up, and that's what killed him one time? How many times has Lucius like died proper? I'm actually kind of curious. What's like the number count that somebody knows? Like, you know, what's the recognized number?
And artwork knitted from living things you could barely call human. The traitorous forces burned the throne world, beginning the most grueling, horrifying siege in human history on the world that Saul had hoped to stand side by side with Nathaniel Garrow on.
Many
felt the wrath of Lucius.
Unknown number of losses. Damn.
Children.
Does he frequently lose now in like 40k, or does he like still win? Or do you not see him too much anymore? He has a lot of faces on his armor.
Should never be enough.
Oh.
How much more intense is the feeling of inhaling the mist created when you vibrate the foe's body until he vaporizes.
Lucius, Lord of Hells.
How much more completely have you explored all a person can
Maybe I'll make that the new title after the stream's up, Lord of Hells.
Into yourself, leaving only the memory of them still a part of this world.
Slanted, coal-rimmed eyes beheld the Eternal, bright with cunning and malicious intelligence.
Wins when he needs to, is killed for story purposes. Tends to get hammered quite often, scalp, I got you.
Locked over in a circlet of the same dark crystal she stood upon. Contoured plates of segmented armor sheathed her inhumanly tall, slender physique, inked with elaborate and revolting patterns that flowed and writhed upon the dark surfaces. They framed a fist-sized pendant of a skull pierced by 3 splinters of bone, set at the center of her chest, and carved from wraithbone as white as untouched snow. A withered, androgynous slave of a species Lucius could not identify, cowed in chains on the plinth at her side. It carried a long, slender device in its grimy claws, holding one end of it up in front of her lips. She spoke again, her words twisting through the device and rendered into Gothic with a sibilant hiss.
My contemporaries find it a touch theatrical, but what is life without art?
Hello, little god maker.
Lucius bared his cage of needle teeth in a smile at the Dark Eldar. The air was filled with a low shriek of anti-grav engines. Eldar in spiked carapace suits swept down around Lucius, tearing through the air on angular, bladed skyboards. The aliens whooped and jeered at Lucius as they spun in increasing, tighter circles around him, brandishing hooked glaives and serrated daggers.
Pay them no mind,
said the Eldar, raising an arm and throwing back the shoulder of her cloak of dark fur and flayed skin. With a gesture, the Hellions came to a halt, glaring at Lucius with undisguised hunger.
They are always eager to sample the newest additions to my menagerie.
Menagerie?
So let them.
Lucius said.
Oh, Jesus.
His head was swimming
Lucius is into
so
that shit.
thoroughly that at
Also, I
first
see
he
all the
didn't
faces on his
realize that it
on
was
his armor
he
now.
who had spoken.
God
the
damn.
proximity to so many of the Eldar was an intoxicating thing. The strangled beat of their withering hearts, their cloying, black scent sinking through to his marrow.
Let me taste their flesh, their blood. Slanesh will relish the flavor of their souls.
Your god.
The Eldar laughed, like a serrated blade scraping over glass.
Your idiot race does so amuse me. The things it bends the knee to in worship.
I would not go so far as to call myself devoted,
said Lucius, still bearing his predatory grin.
But one needs no faith to see how the youngest god's love for you transcends all the others. The ones who ushered forth his birth. I have received gifts from him. And what sort of monster would I be if I did not unite your souls with him in thanks?
The Comorite mistress considered his words for a moment.
Ah, yes. Gifts. Tell me, the one of your race I barter with, trading flesh for secrets, the Man-Flayer. He has told me of you. The one your rabble calls eternal. He tells me of your gifts. He says you live, despite tasting the embrace of oblivion time after time.
Many times.
Up, holding just shy
He's
of
a very
stroking
sore
her clawed
loser.
fingertip across Lucius's cheek.
Death refuses to hold you. You die, and yet you rise. And on and on. I exchanged many secrets to acquire you. I wish to learn how.
Cut me loose,
said Lucius, leaning forward until the tendrils bit deep into his armor.
Feed me that little wretch of yours, and I will tell you in privacy.
The Eldar smirked. Withdrawing her hand, she ran her fingers across the skull of her slave, carving gashes into its flesh with the crystal claws that tipped her gloves.
It is a miserable thing, is it not? That is so, but it is not wholly useless to me.
She gestured at the device the wretch held. Lucius ran his tongue over his fangs.
Oh my god.
When you speak like that, the way your face moves, I can't help myself but think of how I'll shudder when I eat your eyes.
He tilted his head.
Jesus Christ, Lucius, calm down.
I'll eat them
my God.
one at a time. Would you like that? Would you like to watch me?
If the words had any impact upon the
Some sick shit, dude. He's a sick motherfucker. This guy needs to be put down, man. Oh my god. Yeah? And look at that tongue, too. You want that? I'm sure he's good at his craft, but Jesus Christ.
Would you like to watch me?
If the words had any
He
impact
does have reach.
upon
He doesn't
the
have
Eldar,
flexibility.
She gave no outward sign. She remained unfazed, her stare still half-lidded in arrogant contempt.
Your race has always been infantile, in a clumsy, belligerent, and repellent way. I often forget how recently
This
it
is
was
literally
that
coming
you
from the Dark
first
Eldar.
crawled out from the primordial ooze of your first world. If you wish to show me rather than tell, it is of no consequence.
Like, he's literally
She
talking to
said,
Dark
as
Elder,
she
and he
rested a
sounds like the
claw
fucking
tip
crazy
between
one,
Lucius's
which is insane.
eyes.
The answers I seek are within you somewhere.
She sank her nail into Lucius's face, drawing a trickle of dark blood to spill over the claw and patter onto her boots. Lucius gasped with the transcendence of her touch as the tendrils fastened around his body began to loosen. The Eldar mistress grinned as she withdrew her hand, and Lucius dropped away into the dark.
I am Thindrak, Archon of the Cabal of the Last Hatred, and I shall enjoy learning just how much of you I will have to cut out to find them.
He's into that shit. That actually doesn't affect him at all.
Mere killing should never be enough. How much more intense is the feeling of inhaling the mist created when you vibrate a foe's body until he vaporizes?
He's far beyond gone at this
How
point.
much more
Yeah, seems like it.
Have you explored
Goddamn.
all of a person?
Yeah, there's no coming back for Lucius.
And when you breathe them into yourself, leaving only the memory of them still a
Kitty
part
on my
of
Van
this
Sar.
world.
Border with
The
DE
traitors
boards, Blackwings.
lost.
Going for a
the
green
War
goblin
Master
thing.
Horus had been slain. The
Got some
Emperor
pictures
of
of it, let's see.
mankind was crippled, interned upon the golden throne as a carrion lord. Lucius, Fulgrim,
Hey there, Dark Cypress.
the
Good to see you,
shambling
man.
horde that
Hold on. Good to see you there, Dark Cypress. Trainee with you till 10 o'clock. Stop by later if the stream is still going. Hope everyone's having a great night. Yeah, you too, man. Have a great rest of your night, too. Hopefully your shift's going all right there. We'll probably be streaming some, maybe some Red Dead Redemption later tonight. So we probably won't be streaming this, but we will be doing some games later tonight. I'm planning on. So yeah, hopefully I'll see you there, eh? Thank you for tuning in there, man. Good to see you.
Lord, Lucius, Fulgrim, and the shambling horde that was the Emperor's children ravaged the Imperium as they fled to the massive warp rift. The Eye of Terror. The slightly mad, endorphined high, grievously scarred Lucius had nothing left to him but indulgence. The Scarlet Blade, a gladiatorial contest held by the Emperor's children, became a divine place for Lucius. Endless contest, endless slaughter, as all manner of opponents, willing and unwilling, were broken down in utter cruelty. The victories, the perfect skill, the admiration of the crowd. It felt incredible. A scale so far tipped towards arrogance, his insecurities were washed away. The sea of madness, the warp, twisted and turned around Lucius. Servants of the delightful god Slaanesh, fed upon the extreme emotions rippling from him. Oh, he was loved. The favored son had climbed, plucking the fruit of perfection, and he consumed the rotten, twisted prize. The climb of this incredible duelist drew jealous eyes. Lord Commander Sirius, hateful, arrogant, and jealous, decided he needed to destroy this upstart obstacle. Stepping into the ring at the final round of the Scarlet Blade, Sirius challenged the blood-dripping, scarred thing that was Lucius.
If you can call him that
only
anymore.
A simple sword and a tunic, Lucius giggled in delight and launched himself at this fully armored opponent. It was not a fair contest, but a murder in disguise. Each wound Lucius took, his laughter grew. The corruption of Slaanesh turned jolting pain into spasms of ecstasy.
Oh my god.
Sirius beat Lucius to death until the laughing stopped. Sirius felt immense pleasure
Lucius was
and
finishing that
pride
entire
from
time, dude.
slaying Lucius. But the victorious champion would suffer a fate worse than death.
Oh, here we go.
For weeks, the Lord Commander began to change. His hair fell out. Others could hear him scream in the night. Some nights it almost sounded like laughter. Someone else's laughter. Dark lines appeared under his flesh, growing until they formed a maze of scar tissue. His armor began to shift. The look of flayed faces rippled across its surfaces. After weeks, like a snake shedding its skin, Lucius was reborn, the champion of Slaanesh, his existence eternal. A face of rope scars, a tongue like a viper, elongated
Disgusting.
teeth, hoofed feet, each nerve sensitive to a level where pleasure and pain blurred. Lucius felt incredible. He was more powerful than ever. He was purged of any weakness, such as sympathy, kindness, friendship, and his humanity.
And now he's
More
perfect.
predator than man.
Definitely.
His thoughts focus on his
This is what
next
perfection looks like,
pleasurable
guys.
experience. Selfishness personified. To stand before Lucius, your spine would tingle. The hair on the back of your neck would stand up, as the monster before you would leave you begging for the mercy of death. The champion of Slaanesh gathered forces loyal to him. The cohors Nasike, warriors in dedication to the Prince of Pleasure. In search of worthy foes, countless number of champions of the Imperium and Xenos fell to his blade. Lucius had now developed no regard for his own life. In fact,
Yeah, 'cause he's just
even
gonna come
taking
back.
extreme pleasure in it. As
In
for
losing
the
it?
impossible happened. When the champion of Slaanesh fell, his opponent,
This is peak
rife
male
with
performance right
pride,
here,
would
clearly.
begin to change.
Oh, yeah.
The roped, scarred flesh of Lucius each time would emerge from underneath, shedding his opponent from humans, Eldar, and even growing like a tumor inside the living metal of Necrons.
What?
All faces that emerged in screaming horror.
He can do that shit with Necrons too? That's fucking OP, dude. How does he affect Necrons in that way? Like, what? What the fuck? That's actually insanely OP. I thought, like, okay, humans, Astarte, sure, right? But Eldar too? Eldar, Necrons, everything? What?
Necrons. All faces that emerged in screaming horror across his armor. He carried all
The Necrons
their
would be the
souls
easiest to
with him.
do that too, I
After
feel
a
like.
near endless cycle, a stretch of time impossible to measure within the eye of terror, Lucius was captured.
Necrons would be like,
sold as
suck
a
it,
gift
primate.
to a dark Eldar Archon by one of his own.
The next thing you know, they're just like,
Fabulous bile.
Lucius again.
The venomous monster delighted in his captor's questioning. The smell of those favored by she who thirsts made his skin throb. The corruption of the Dark Prince lives in every fiber of his being. Like a toy, Lucius was dropped into the pits of the vilest, most gruesome place in the material universe, the Dark City of Commorragh. Dark Eldar bodies piled up in a display of combat so fast, so utterly cruel and perfect, it made his patron god smile.
Damn.
Lucius enacted an uprising. With a layer blade in hand, he slaughtered his way free, uniting his cohorts Nasike with other corrupted Astartes prisoners, forging a new, devastating, disgusting force, the Faultless.
The
A
Faultless.
battle cry and a world view he would take to the material universe, for more slaughter was his to claim. Eternal, the universe will suffer this arrogant, cruel, hateful monster, for each champion who feels pride in his defeat becomes the monster. And the only way to end the
Awful
cycle,
large,
the
cod
only
piece he's got
way
there. Oh
to
my.
defeat him, devoid of pride, is someone who loves him. And the only man who ever loved him, as a brother would, died in the fires of Istvan.
Literally.
Pity the monster who lives in this universe without love.
Damn, dude. Wow. He does look absolutely fucking wretched, though, you have to admit. Like, dude does look like a monster. Wow, is that it? That looks like that's it, guys. Wow. That was Lucius the Eternal 40k lore by the Amber King, guys. And I guess it's Lucius and Saul, really. The title is still Lucius the Eternal, but the thumbnail, Lucius and Saul. It is partially Saul's story as well. I mean, he was in it up until like an hour in, so he was half that story as well. I definitely like Saul a lot. Saul is a relatable guy, and I believe we learned quite a bit about that instance on murder, or the incident on murder in the warrior tier videos, if I believe, Sons of Horus series and whatnot. So it was very cool to see this after the fact and kind of get some more information on Lucius and on Saul, because we met and saw both of them, right? But now to see where that eventually leads and to see just how far Lucius fucking goes with it. Lucius is, I don't know. He's definitely, listen, Lucius and Erebus are both assholes. They both suck, but I feel like Erebus is just a giant rat. You know what I mean? Erebus is a massive rat, and I feel like just it's so hard to compare anyone else to just the rat levels of Erebus. Like Lucius, don't get me wrong, he's a motherfucker. Guy's definitely got some work. He's a piece of work. He's got some shit cut out for him, but again, I don't think it compares to Erebus, unfortunately. I think Erebus is just always going to be fucking just the S tier rat. You know what I mean? Lucius maybe an A tier. Erebus has got to be the S tier rat every time, or bat, or whatever you want to call it. There's a couple words we could call him, I guess. I guess Conrad Kurz is the bat, and Erebus is definitely the rat. I think we established that previously, but I thought this was an awesome video by the Amber King, as always. Does fantastic work. If you guys have not already, go over, link in the description, check out the Amber King's video. Go leave a like on this video, of course. If you checked it out with me and you haven't already left a like on it, go give him the support he deserves, because man, does great work on I guess all of his 40k videos. I was going to say this series, but the entire 40k lore scene in general, the Amber King has done a fantastic job on it, continues to do so. So go give him the just due he deserves for sure over on his channel there. And yeah, guys, this was awesome. Really appreciate you guys tuning in for this one. Big thank you to everyone who donated there. Know we got a couple new Triarii as well. That's awesome to see. I really appreciate that, guys. Actually means the world to me, so I really can't thank you enough for all that. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, as always. Erebus knows he's a rat and he loves it. Yeah, Erebus gets off on that shit, man. He's all for it. Every fucking day he's all for it, man. But yeah, guys, we are going to be streaming some more Red Dead Redemption 2 tonight, I'm thinking. Not too sure when. I'll make a post before that happens. Last night I was going to. And then unfortunately, because I have Red Dead Redemption 2 on the Rockstar launcher, it got halfway done, and then fucking Windows needed permissions. It needed me to say yes or no to downloading like one of the frameworks. So it literally got halfway done, and then fucking, because I was having a nap, woke up expecting it to be finished. It was not finished. It was halfway done, and the game itself is 115 gigabytes large, and my internet speed is not the best. I don't have an Ethernet connection, so I need to work on that. So I was getting maybe like 100 megs. So it took like fucking 3 hours to download that shit. So it took a while, but yes, we are going to be streaming later tonight. So hopefully I'll see a bunch of you guys there still. Yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. As always, this has been Centurion, and I'll see you guys in the next one. As always, thank you guys for tuning in. See you guys in the next one. Peace, guys.